Back here at the Iowa Speedway under picture-perfect skies, and now upwards of 60,000 people making their way to their seats, and the standing room only availability that is left in this beautiful new speedway. You can see we are less than 15 minutes to going green here in the first ever race in the Nationwide Series. We have a beautiful day, 75 degrees, 8-mile-an-hour winds, just partly cloudy skies. It's time to go trackside for the opening ceremonies here at Iowa Speedway.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the Iowa Army National Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Pastor Mark Young of the First Christian Church in Newton, Iowa, offers today's invocation.
Gracious God, we bow before you on this beautiful and historic day at the Iowa Speedway. Thank you for those who had the vision. Thank you for those who planned and worked behind the scenes. Thank you for all the staff people who put so much work into this race this weekend. But thank you most of all for the fans that we have here today, all these fans to celebrate the great sport of racing. And we pray, Father, that we might be most thankful for those who serve our country and their families. And we thank you for your Son, Jesus. We pray all of this in your precious name. Amen.
Please welcome Warner Brothers recording artist and country music sensation James Otto as he performs our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the
from the Iowa National Guard out of Sioux City, Iowa.
The opening ceremonies are over. It's now time to strap in, hold on, and go racing for 250 laps here at the Iowa Speedway as the Nationwide Series makes its debut.
On pit road, take control of this pit road. Clean hits all night, smooth and clean. Let's win one on three. 1, 2, 3. Win! Just win.
Trevor Brain's crew, one of 43 that are ready to go racing here at the Iowa Speedway. Take a look at the important dates as we broke ground in this facility back in June of 2005. It opened 1 year later in September, hosting a Hooters Pro Cup race, and then in October of that year, Stephen Wallace won the first ARCA race. The first NASCAR race was in '07, the Camping World East-West, won by Joey Logano, and the first IndyCar date was June 2007, won by Dario Franchitti. In fact, he won this past year's race here as well. Let's come back topside because I want to talk about double file restarts, Rusty.
I really think the double file restarts, Marty, are going to work really well at this racetrack. This racetrack has got 3 grooves. We talked earlier about it's 12 degrees on the bottom, 13 in the middle, and 14 up top. Randy, that gives them a lot of room to race on these double file restarts. I don't think they're going to get bogged down. I think it's a great place to get this going. I feel comfortable with the double file restarts here.
You know what, Rusty? When Carl Edwards, Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Tony Raines, these guys are starting in the back, coming to the front. We've seen it last week. Kyle Busch, we can start him in Des Moines. He's going to be up front today. And these guys, the racetrack's going to get wider and wider and wider. We're going to see guys not only on the top side, we might even see them under the yellow line.
Well, one of the keys last week, though, Rusty, was the fact we had 4 early cautions that allowed those guys that were coming up from the back to tighten up. What happens if we don't get those? I mean, how long do you think it'll take them?
Well, I think they're just simply going to change lanes, Marty. I think they're going to go to the second groove or the third groove. We know Kyle Busch is going to take it out wide and get an arm from the back of the pack. I think that'll happen. There probably will be some cautions. There'll be some guys who have to still understand this racetrack. But remember one thing, this track is going to change a lot as the day goes on. As this new racetrack rubbers up and that top lane gets higher and guys figure it out a little bit, you're going to see a different race at the end of the race than you are at the beginning of the race.
Based when you were racing at a new track, did you have a tendency for more cautions or less?
No, he gives you options. When you have options as a driver, it is wonderful to sit there. You might hit a guy now and then going through traffic, but it gives you options. If the guy's running on the bottom, you're going to the middle. If he's in the middle, you're going to the outside.
You heard us talk, if you were with us during the qualifying show, about how Michael Gaughan donated $40,000 for the Victory motorcycle, provided that Mike Helton would ride it around the track. And just a few moments ago, while we were in break, there it is, that beautiful paint job. And we just found out that Michael Gaughan has donated the bike to the new NASCAR Hall of Fame. So when you go to Charlotte, when the Hall of Fame is finished, you'll be able to see that bike on display at the new Hall of Fame. So as Mike pulls off the track and we get ready to go trackside, 43 cars with 43 drivers, all of them wanting to be the first winner. Let's get this show on the road.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to ignite the excitement of the inaugural U.S. Cellular 250 NASCAR Nationwide Series race. Please welcome U.S. Cellular Vice President for the Central Region, Kathy Hust, as she delivers the most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
Engines have fired. The crews are pulling away as they give their drivers the last-minute thumbs up. Brad Keselowski, you're on board with him. He's going to be our in-race reporter, and we'll talk to him when we come back. And you can always remember, ESPN.com, search Ask the Driver, and you may have your question asked to one of our drivers. With us a little bit earlier, there's a look at Ricky Stenhouse Jr. as he became the 5th first-time pole winner this season. And for back-to-back races, a first-time pole winner because Trevor Bayne took the 99 to the point last week at O'Reilly Raceway Park. Across the top of your screen, you will see our starting lineup. And remember that the top 5 have never won a Nationwide Series event. Their average age is 21 years of age. In fact, to get to the old guys, you got to go to position number 10, where you'll catch up with Mike Bliss. Let's get our in-race reporter on the radio with Rusty, and that is Brad Keselowski.
Hey, Brad Keselowski, Rusty Wallace, ESPN. You got us?
10-4, Rusty, got you loud and clear.
Buddy, we've been watching your car all week long, and that thing really looks good. So good. We didn't see you practice last night, man. This car must be awful good to you.
Yeah, I'm really happy with the GoDaddy.com Chevrolet. Would like to qualify better, but you know me, I focus more on making my car drive good in race mode than qualifying mode, and I think we've got that here for this race today.
All right, we got an ESPN mailbag question, and it comes from Mo in Madison, Wisconsin. And the question is, do you feel any added pressure this weekend driving for the first time at Iowa in your sponsor's backyard?
Well, that's a great question because there's a lot of pressure for sure to be racing here for GoDaddy.com. But, you know, when you have good cars, you know, you try to take it one week at a time, and that's what I've got here. And all I'm thinking about is this race and not anything else that goes with it.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot for talking to us. Now, Randy's going to talk to your crew chief, Tony Uri Sr.
Tony Sr., LaJoy up in the ESPN booth. Thursday, you had a 6-hour practice here. A lot of technology being used on these race cars here during testing. What did you use it for? Is it for today, or is it for down the road?
Well, we basically used our data for today. We came here to race Iowa. They gave us practice day here on Thursday, so that because we had never been here before, so we had all of our data on the car, and You know, we just ran all day Thursday and made the car the best we could make it. Practiced a little bit yesterday and did a qualifying run, and then decided to sit the last practice out yesterday. Just wear and tear. We got a lot of miles on the motor. We're running for a championship here, so we just tried to keep the wear and tear down a little bit.
Okay, Pops, good luck today.
Thank you.
Let's take a look at all our other onboard cars. Is across from the top, Mike Bliss, Justin Allgaier, Stephen Light, Kevin Harvick coming from the back, as will be Carl Edwards. And there's Jason Leffler, Brad Keselowski, and Trevor Bayne. Our over-the-wall reporter will be John Reese. He's the jackman on the number 27. There he is, and he'll give us a great view and hopefully some comments along the way when the 27 car comes in for his pit stop. Let's talk about the pit road breakdown. We saw him selecting pits. Which ones do you really like, Rusty?
Well, you know, I looked at the track a lot, Marty, obviously. I think this particular, I'm going to give you 3 picks. And my third best pick, right there, the number 99 car, Trevor Bayne. That's a good one. It's got an opening behind him. The number 2 right there where Justin Allgaier is right there, that is a great spot. He's got an opening in front of him. He can pit and get right out. But my number 1 most favorite pit selection on this whole entire racetrack is all the way down around the corner right here, spot number 1. And that's where Ricky Stenhouse Jr. picked. I think it's a great selection. He can get in and get right out, no problem.
All right, so those are the pit selections that Rusty would choose, and you saw who got them. Let's get the last-minute update from pit lane. Rick DeBrule, you're up.
I want to talk about Kevin Harvick, one of the Cup drivers doing double duty this weekend. Just got off the plane. Now think about this. He's a 2-time champion, second on the all-time win list, and he's a rookie here. He's having to come from the back of the pack because of the way he had to qualify as a result of not being here. But he'd like to play the role of the spoiler. If he wins today, well, that's going to bump over that dash for cash. And we'll talk more about that in a moment. Jack?
When you talk about coming from the back, how about last week's winner, Carl Edwards? He did it successfully. And today, when Carl Edwards got here about 40 minutes ago, had a chance to ask him if he was going to use the progressive banking in the first 20 laps or so. And he said, during the Thursday practice session, Mike Massaro, he said, I learned that maybe my car does better coming off down low. He said, so I'm going to try and use the low road to get to the front.
Well, one of the guys, Jack Arute, he's going to have to race is Kyle Busch. He'll be starting at the back of the field too, and certainly there are some inherent hazards starting at the back of the field. You have to be aggressive, but at the same time have to be a little bit conservative and protect the car, which explains why this team picked this particular pit stall. Pit stall number 41, all the way at pit entrance, just off of turn number 4. Why? If you take a look at the pit box behind them, that's the 49 car of Mark Green. There aren't even any tires in that pit stall, just spectators. They know this car is going to be back behind the wall before they even make their first pit stop. They're going to have a very clean in. Marty?
All right, Mike, thanks a lot. As they're getting ready to come through 3 and 4 quickly on race analysis, 250 laps, that's 218 miles, 40 mile an hour on pit road speed. And you can see the progressive banking through the corners. That pit window means it's a 2-stop race. Pace car is off. 60,000 people. The first nationwide series event ever at this beautiful facility. And these folks are ready, and this race is green. Everybody clean through turns 1 and 2, down into turns 3 and 4. Stenhouse Jr. out in front. He will lead lap number 1 from the pole. Justin Allgaier is second. Trevor Bayne is up to third. Eric Darnell fourth. Stephen Light fifth.
These guys' air pressures are starting to build up. They're getting some confidence in their, they have response in the steering. They're like, okay, they're settling down. They're starting to breathe a little bit. It's okay. It's newness wore off. Let's go racing.
Well, Marty, you hit the nail on the head. And Randy, what they got to do right now is let this thing settle in just a little bit. That second groove and third groove is not burned in totally yet. And they'll get more rubber up there. And I will promise you, you're going to see some 2 and 3 wide racing real shortly here, guys.
2 wide right there. The battle for third. That's Eric Darnell underneath the 99 to Trevor Bayne. Let's go on board and look at what it looks like from behind.
These cars are right on the ground. Look at these guys going through the corner as he picks up the throttle.
Whoa, look out. John West Townley gets it turned around. He's got some damage on the back. Oh, it looks like he's also got an axle. It's about ready to come off.
That's his second car this weekend. He wrecked one on Thursday.
John West Townley, he's been having a tough time, guys. I mean, just like you said, Randy, he lost his car in practice. Now he's lost another one. Oh, he's lapped 4. Tough week for this young driver.
Let's go back and take another look. As you can see, the damage on the right side of the car now as well.
Looks like the track bar broke. Track bar broke, or something to come out, and the rear end's already outside the car.
Absolutely, Randy. I've never seen that before. I mean, the track bar looks like it broke on this car. The rear end housing tried to slide to the left-hand side. It's one more look here. Look, the right rear tire's way in, and it's already tore up, and the track bar is what's caused this problem. Look at that rear end going back and forth. This is a mechanical failure this time, guys.
Tough break for John West Townley. As you can see, he is behind the wall. He is first car out here at the Iowa Speedway as we're under our first caution here on lap number 5.
Back at the Iowa Speedway, a number of the double-duty drivers starting at the back of the field. Some early strategy. Kyle Busch already making a stop on pit road to top off with fuel. A lot of drivers feel like this race may come down to fuel mileage, and Kyle Busch may have just gained 4 laps.
Well, and we can also tell you behind is Mike Harmon, the 07, and he is going to pull it behind the wall. So that is our first start and park. Townley is already behind the wall after having the track bar apparently just snap on him and send him to the wall. Double file restart means it's going to look very familiar to what we started the race with, although it will be Stenhouse, Allgaier up front. Bain and Darnell have sort of swapped positions as this huge crowd again coming to their feet as the pace car leads them down through turn number 4.
We've seen the 16 car get a little bit of a jump. They say he got talked to us today. Easy on that.
Waiting for the flag, and there we are. We're back to green flag racing here at Iowa.
Well, at least last time they all got to go down in turn 1, double file, and know what their car feels like in that first corner. And right away, we see him trying to go 3 wide down the back straightaway.
Well, and Allgaier makes it take advantage of the top side and takes over the race lead, and all of a sudden, here comes Trevor Bain as well in the 99, and Eric Darnell's going to try and follow him. So we have our second leader. Here comes Bain trying to get underneath Stenhouse Jr. Darnell's trying to pick his lane right behind the 2 of them.
Boy, Allgaier got a great restart. I mean, he just came off of turn 2 and just throttled down. And just took that lead a lot better than I thought he would. I thought he'd have to struggle with Eric Darnell and Ricky Stenhouse, and he just cleared him and checked out.
Stephen Light, who was the fastest car last night in practice.
Well, we can tell you Johnny Chapman has pulled behind the wall. So is Coleman Presley in the 47. So a total of 4 cars now out. Let's get more on the 16 car. Rick DeBrule, what's going on?
Well, yeah, don't know exactly what caused the problem at the start, although once again, it's a question as to whether he was ready for it. Although he's been in the pole position, he's led more than a share of races. He knows how to do restarts. He did tell the team the car felt pretty good, maybe a little bit tight, but he said it was really too soon to tell. Hadn't had enough laps to really know whether it was right or wrong.
You saw it 3 wide, and Brad Coleman taking advantage as he gets underneath Eric Darnell. He picks up to the number 4 position. Stenhouse Jr., and we've got caution and another car into the wall. It is the 81 of Sean Murphy making his first nationwide start, and he makes it all through lap 11.
That's too bad. That's Randy McDonald's car. These guys, they called him on Tuesday night. He's a volunteer helper for these guys. They called him Tuesday night and said, hey, you want to drive this car? Yeah. He's like, well, we got to get you to Iowa. So it was a great weekend for him, but he kind of messed it up.
Guys, right before this caution happened, Eric Darnell was 6 car. I was watching him. He really fell backwards right about to start finish line. And when that car came past me, it looked like it got some damage on the right side of it. Not much. Got some donut marks down the right side of that car, right rear tire. I think he's okay, but he had a moment out there on the racetrack. It must have got him out of shape.
Well, one good thing, Rusty, this is not a aero-sensitive racetrack, so the side of these race cars get tore up. It's not that bad.
Let's go back, take a look. There's the 81 going around.
Early into you looked at skid marks, and it was before the Rusty bump, so we didn't have nothing to do with that one.
I appreciate that. Looks like he just got loose on entry, got up top, hit the safe barrier. Hate that it happened to him.
Well, we're under our
brand new everything, and he's out of the race.
We're under our second caution here, and we're working lap 13 of the Nationwide Series event at Iowa, presented by GoDaddy.com. Your race leader is that man right there, Justin Allgaier, with Trevor Bain in second place. We're coming back.
NASCAR racing on TSN is brought to you by Dickies, guaranteed workwear since 1922.
Back to the U.S. Cellular 250. Currently our leader is Justin Allgaier, and it looks like he's going to take the outside on this restart. Now, the Sprint Cup is going to be at Pocono, presented by Old Spice, tomorrow, 1 Eastern on ESPN. Just 6 races left in the race to the chase. Who's going to win it? Tune in to find out at 1 Eastern tomorrow. Let's get quickly to Jack Arute on the race leader.
The reason why Justin Allgaier's taking the high side is his crew chief, Chad Walter, and their spotter. Notice that he is on the high side. He's high arcing into the corners because of the track conditions and because of the handling conditions, Marty. So he likes the top side.
Well, the green flag is out. We're going to find out if it works for him. And boy, what a great restart for Allgaier.
Man, he just rockets out the lead right now. That way he doesn't have to worry about the bottom or the top. He can choose what he wants. He got in the corner so good that time, guys.
Boy, look at the 16 getting swarmed over right now by the 20 of Coleman. And there goes Darnell underneath. Here comes Wimmer in the 5. Looks like right now Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is trying to just hang on.
And these guys are packed up solid right there. That clunk you're seeing on your screen, they are tight.
These standing room only fans are up on their feet, and they're seeing a great race so far.
Oh, man, I'll tell you, they're looking at the bottom lane, the top lane. A lot of momentum.
Which is great as a race car driver. It's so much fun when you can race all over the racetrack.
Look at the 33 of Kevin Harvick, the biggest mover on the racetrack. He's up 23 spots, up to 15th position right now.
I was watching Kevin. He's been on the inside. He's been on the outside. He's up the middle. He's smiling from ear to ear right now.
And guys, we're seeing, look at Harvick going underneath the 1. We're seeing the same trend as we had last week. Early cautions are allowing those guys to bunch back up on the double file restart.
Well,
it's
Marty, it's really helped him a ton. There's just no doubt about that. The cautions have. And just like you said, look at there. He's up 23 positions right now, Harvick. That 33 car is flat on the move.
And one of the things that he wants to do, he runs second here to Joey Logano in a Camping World race. He wants to put his name on the trophy here. I think you guys give him a beer or corn or something, don't you? You know, it's going to be difficult for him to win. You can see the 62 car go way up the racetrack.
Don't forget, Kevin Harvick has 14 short track wins. That is the most of any active driver. So he knows how to get around these short tracks.
Well, it will get harder and harder. When he gets into the top 5, the top 8, he won't be a half a second quicker than these guys. You know, when he gets up, the farther you go, the harder the passes are going to be.
And remember also, he is the only one who can spoil the dash for cash. Everybody else is eligible for that $75,000 bonus except Kevin Harvick today.
And you know what? He doesn't care about anybody. He wants that win so bad at this inaugural race. It's unbelievable.
Let's move back forward to the 7th place battle. Stephen Light, Kelly Byers, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is there, and actually in the 6th position. And Light in the 29 trying the high side. A couple other cars trying to work their way into that battle. And boy, again, here we go. Love the short tracks, don't you? Because we've got action and passing going on all over this place.
Just a minute ago, Kevin was in front of the 38. Now the 38's wrestled it back from him.
Well, just like you said, Randy, it's getting tougher for Kevin as he gets up to the better cars. The ones that really got better cars, just like I said, compete better in the track. He's struggling a little bit now trying to get around Leffler. Can't seem to get it done.
Kevin LePage has also taken his car to the garage now. That's a total of 7 behind the wall.
Well, one of the things, Rusty, you know, when you get past, boy, it kind of torques you. And you pull that belt tight and you say, okay, I'm getting the heck out of here.
There is Stephen Wallace and the 88 of Brad Keselowski. That battle is for 9th on the racetrack.
Now, see, guys, this is what I like right there. Stevens chose the 2nd lane. He's trying to get that momentum. Brad Keselowski's on the bottom side of the racetrack. They can choose whatever lane they want because they're out there, guys.
Update you on the starting parts. 49 of Mark Green's now behind the wall.
Starting parts. Is that NASCAR's version of cash for clunkers?
No, you're gonna be called into the trailer. Take a look at Kevin Harvick. He's got Jason Leffler. They're side by side. Harvick right now shown in 13th position. He and Leffler are duking it out. They both have gotten past Mike Bliss.
Yeah, Kevin Harvick did a lot of testing here on Thursday. You know, if you notice him a couple weeks ago, he really got this 33 car really handling great over at Gateway. He feels like he's got his act together. Take a look at these two, side by side, every single lap. Somebody's got to give here.
And that's Kelly Byers right in front of the 10 car. And all 3 of these guys having a good battle.
Absolutely. Kelly has done a great job. He hasn't ran that much with us this year. He wants to prove something. Braun Racing Team has won races this year. He wants to have a good day for himself.
Keselowski still underneath, looks again, goes to the rail. Right on the bottom of the yellow line, and Steven trying the high side, and Keselowski may have the better of him. Not yet. That momentum that he's able to carry.
There is no preferred line. It's all preferred.
I'll tell you what, Randy, I know you can run 2 wide, 3 wide out here, but when those two are running side by side, I'm just going, I wish somebody just get in line.
Well, you have to have patience, that's for sure.
Well, Steven now takes the low line and gets around the 10 of Kelly Byers.
Looked like a slide job there.
We're going to have to see how this race unfolds and see how wide this racetrack really gets out there and see if they get running really high off of turn 2, because I've noticed in previous races, that's been the corner where everybody's done a lot of passing.
0 car pulling behind the wall, Curtis Davis. Let's go back a little further in the field. There was Kevin Harvick streaking through, as he is still shown now in 12th position, trying to zero in on Kyle Busch and Carl Edwards. They're running nose to tail, 17th and 18th on the racetrack right now. And there they are, and that's Brian Eichler in the 32 now in between them.
Marty, they're flying through the field. Look at Kyle Busch, 27 spots he's picked up. Kevin Harvick has picked up 26 spots, and Carl Edwards, buddy, he's on it too. He's picked up 22 spots. So they're using every inch of this racetrack. They're getting to the front.
For more on this battle, let's check in with Mike Massaro.
And no surprise, guys, to note that the 18 and 60 have been the show so far here in 2009, and their rivalry took it to another level last week at ORP. You remember how that thing finished? Well, obviously two completely different perspectives on the finish. I spoke with the crew chief of the 60 car, Dan Stillman. He said it gave them a huge emotional boost knowing they could beat the 18. Meanwhile, well, a little bitterness in the 18 camp. Jason Ratcliffe said he did not approve of the way Carl raced them, said there was no need for him to rough them up. So, well, could be adding to the drama here this afternoon as they both race nose to tail, making their way from the back to the front here today.
Boys will be boys, won't they? Take a look at you get the battle going on there. That's Bliss trying to hold off the 18. Meanwhile, up front, Justin Allgaier has a 2.1 second lead over Trevor Bayne here at the Nationwide Series Race at Iowa, presented by GoDaddy.com. Stay with us. On board with our race leader, Justin Allgaier, as he has led a total of 29 laps. That's the most in his young Nationwide Series career. He is a second leader. Paul Sitter, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. led the other 7. He's got a 3.9 second lead over Trevor Bayne. And there, as you look back a little bit further, that is the 88 of Brad Keselowski. That's a battle for 5th with Eric Darnell.
Well, Marty, you know, when you see the in-car camera of Justin Allgaier leading this race, it looked like it was easy. But his arch race at 130 miles an hour.
Spin into
turn 1.
Right between turn 1 and 2, the 05 car of Casey Atwood has stuffed the back end of the car into the wall. We now have our 3rd caution. And every car that is still out there is on the lead lap, so we don't have to worry about a lucky dog. We can update you that Jeff Fuller has pulled behind the wall, so that brings our count to 10 cars, either off or out of this race.
Marty, I looked up and that 05 car was just spinning violently. I mean, he clobbered that wall hard. I mean, that was a hard hit. I mean, I don't know what started this thing early, but boy, he clobbered it.
Rusty, let's talk about this wall you got around this racetrack. The only racetrack that has a safer barrier all the way around without concrete banking.
Yeah, it's a brand new technology that the Nebraska State University trained up, Randy. And as you see right there in the shot, it has no concrete wall. It's put in a big concrete foundation. It's all new technology, and when we decided to build this new track, it was available, so we went with it.
All right, my question for both you guys is, do you pit or do you not? We're only working lap 40.
Man, we're drivers. We don't know.
Hey, we're just paid to drive the car. I believe, Marty, that I'd be coming down pit road, putting some tires on the car, taking a look at it right now, but Justin Allgaier is flat flying out there. He's put 0.2 of a second on all these guys every single lap, so he's got a good handle on the car. But pit road is still closed. So they're going past this time right now. We'll see what happens next time around.
I say yes. They have tires. They have 3 sets in there. They're going to get it on the car. If the leader don't pit, too bad. Everybody else is gonna.
Well, I talked to Justin Allgaier yesterday after that last practice, and he said, you know, we ran a set of tires for 100 laps, and it didn't fall off that much.
So a lot of guys have said.
Yeah. So I mean, you could stay out there for track position.
And what I'm hearing right now, a lot of guys think the tire's a little bit too hard. It's a brand new track. Goodyear came conservative here. And the tire is lasting a long way. Doesn't have the grip they want, but it's a good conservative tire. Let's take a look here.
Well, it's the tail end of it.
It was already gone. I mean, if you get up too high going into one, there was a USAC race last night. On the very last lap, a guy blew up. Cameron Dotson won, and then Carl Edwards' car. But the track could be still a little bit dirty with a hard tire. Boy, it's not a lot of grip.
So we'll find out who is going to be a taker onto pit lane as they are now working into turn number 3 here at the Iowa Speedway. Pit road is still closed, so they'll have to go one more time around. So far, Justin Allgaier, who has controlled the majority of this early race with Trevor Bayne right behind him. A lot of young kids, but you look a bit further back. Kevin Harvick has moved up to 12th. Kyle Busch has moved to 14th. Carl Edwards to 16th.
I think we're going to see some pit strategy. I think we're going to see guys do some 2 tires on this gig, you know, to change the characteristic of the handling of the race car.
Well, Randy, that's a good point. And one thing this extended caution period's done right here. Now, we've passed this entry, this pit road 3 times now. It's to let all these crew guys think a little bit about what they want to do. Is it the right choice to shoot down right now? Or maybe we should do 2 tires like you just said. Stay out for a while. Whenever you pressure somebody into something, make a decision quick. Sometimes it's a wrong decision. They've had time now.
Let's get an update on the 12 car of Justin Allgaier. Jack?
Well, Marty, if you go inside Justin Allgaier's car, you see a sign over there on the side of the seat. It's a tribute to Chad Walter's godfather, who passed away last night. They quickly did that in loving memory of Joe Zumo, who passed away unexpectedly. They're getting ready to pit. Car's been a little bit loose. They're going to change the air pressure just a bit. Believe it or not, just before the caution, they told Justin, slow down a little bit.
All right, it looks like everybody is going to come down pit lane. So heading towards you, Mike Massaro, as we'll go triple pits.
And Carl Edwards has been complaining the car is a little bit tight in the center and off, but very concerned about the adjustments. Does not want to be loose in. So what they're going to do is raise the track bar and also make an air pressure adjustment to the left rear, a 4-tire change on the 60, Jack.
Sunoco fuel going in on your leader, the 12 of Justin Allgaier. They're going to try and cure that loose condition with just a little bit of an air pressure adjustment. Rick.
And Trevor Bayne brought his car in, 2 tires, track bar adjustment. They had a problem with the fuel, however, and the fuel was leaking out onto the track. I'm not sure how much they actually got into the car.
Yeah, we can see it down from our position. And Brad Keselowski, the big winner in the race off pit road, and you can see that, boy, Stenhouse drops because he took 4 tires. So did Kyle Busch. But interesting strategy here in the early going at Iowa.
Well, Randy, you called it. I mean, this tire's a little bit hard. It's running good. It's holding up good. Guys say, why do I need 4 right now? Let's get 2. Let's get to track position. And that's what you see now, a ton of these guys.
Let's go back because Justin Allgaier had some contact. Watch the right front.
Rusty, that was one of your pits. You say, okay, that's a great pit, but the problem is when the guys behind you come in, you shoot out and that guy's coming in. Chase that tire so I can get that tire back.
There's the fuel, and you can see he had trouble, just what Rick was talking about, how much of that can actually got in.
Well, you don't need a lot of fuel because you're only running 40 laps.
That's
so,
true, but
you know, only half that can. It looked like the neck on the can stayed open, which just dumped all the fuel out.
Guys, I don't think the damage on the right front of Justin Allgaier's fender is too bad at all. It looks good. It looks like it's pretty well out. It might hurt the performance a tad bit, but I tell you what, I've seen him a lot worse. He got lucky right there.
And he also said he was loose. So, you know, that's going to tighten him up a little bit.
That will. That will tighten him up a little bit.
Let's get an update on the 12, Jack.
Guys, exactly what you're talking about is what Chad Walter just told Justin Allgaier. Said he called it a wrinkle. He said might actually help the car.
Well, Brad Keselowski is our race leader now, so as our 3rd different leader, and he has decided to take the inside for this restart.
He can do whatever he wants.
That's right. He's a leader.
Yeah, but Justin Allgaier likes the outside. So I'm thinking he's happy with the decision as well. We're back to green flag racing here at Iowa. Good start for Keselowski.
And that does work on you. When you're a driver, you know you got a little damage, Rusty. You're just a little bit lenient going in that first corner.
Now, after this next round of pit stops, I guarantee his crew chief will be talking to him, saying, "Be careful exiting." He'll be watching real hard because, again, this is the first time these cats have run here. They got to be a little careful, and they got to get some knowledge.
But they're also going to watch who's coming into the pits. That was a 62 car, so they're going to watch and maybe talk to the 62 about staying out a little bit.
Kevin Harvick's up to 10th position, guys. These bunched cautions have done exactly what they did last week. It's allowed these guys to tighten up every time. And here he is working his way with Kyle Busch on the outside in the 18. Ricky Stenhouse right in front of him.
I told you could have started that sucker in Des Moines.
Now he's going underneath.
That's the fastest pizza guy in Iowa right now, isn't it?
He is running that top lane. Look at him. We know Kyle Busch loves the top of the racetrack. Now he's clear. Let's see what he does when he gets down the back straightaway. Top or bottom? Oh, he chose bottom of the racetrack.
Of all our double-duty drivers, Kyle Busch has made the most of the opportunity right now. He's up to 9th. Harvick is in 11th.
I just love watching these double file restarts. These guys just hammer down on these restarts. They get a lot of positions picked up. And we saw this last week at ORP. Real exciting there.
Kyle's going underneath Trevor Bayne. Bayne, our pole sitter last week, had a good qualifying effort earlier today, and he holds him off for that lap.
On Thursday and Friday, we talked to a lot of these guys that the tires weren't making a big difference. You cool them off and went back out, they run just as well. Put stickers on it, you're only about 2/10 quicker. 2 tires, a great call.
Let's get more on the 99 from Rick DeBrule.
Yeah, I just want to update what happened during his pit stop. They made a couple of adjustments. One at the track bar. They also changed the air pressures on that car. He said he thought the car was running fairly well. He said it really was more of a driver issue. He needed to adjust. Mike?
And Rick, just want to remind everybody out there, this is not Kyle's first race here in Iowa. He was back here in May and went to Victory Lane in the Camping World East-West combination race. At that particular event, his crew chief, Jason Ratcliffe, brought a couple of engineers. They scouted this racetrack out, so they had an idea how to set this car up when they got here. It has worked out pretty well. The car is very good. Just a little bit tight center before that last pit stop. They took a round of wedge out of the right rear, made an air pressure adjustment, and 4 tires, but the 18 car is flying.
And he is well ahead of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Kevin Harvick right now. Harvick's got his hands full with Stenhouse, trying to get around him. Behind him is the 38 of Jason Leffler and also the 10 of Kelly Byers. So the action continues. Up front, Brad Keselowski has opened up a 1.2-second lead here over Justin Allgaier at the Nationwide Series race at Iowa, presented by GoDaddy.com. There's your top 5 after 51 of 250. Tomorrow, X Games races to the finish. Cars will be drifting, flying, but the winner may be the car that can finish with the least amount of damage. And also the skateboarders in the park. It's no stroll or a walk. Surviving this concrete jungle will not be easy. Coverage tomorrow on ABC at 3 Eastern. Back here, there is Kevin Harvick. He is duking it out with Jason Leffler right now, and that is a battle for the 11th position on the racetrack.
Those guys have been magneted together. Those guys have been running all day long, front, back, forward, behind.
Well, Randy, you talked earlier about how Harvick made it through the field so good and so fast. And the farther he gets up there, the tougher it's going to get. Well, he found his partner to stall out with right now. That's Jason Leffler. Because it's just like you said, they've been going back and forth. A guy in the move, though, has definitely been Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch has been making his way through the field, though. But he's starting to stall out a little bit also.
While you're watching Kevin Harvick, and Harvick has had some great success in inaugural events. He won at Montreal and also won the first nationwide race at Kentucky back in 2001. He could become the first ever to win 3.
And that's what he has been working so hard himself, looking at the Joe Gibbs cars during Tech, saying, why are these cars beating my team? And he's getting closer and closer and closer.
Marty, you know, Kevin Harvick made it here back in 2007, I believe it was. And he finished second to Joey Logano. Harvick was on the pole in a Camping World East-West race and led all day long. And young Joey Logano got him at the very end, and Kevin finished second. So he's got some experience here, just like Kyle Busch does.
I think Kevin will tell you he had a cylinder that wasn't working as good as all of 8 of Joey's. He only had 7.5.
I remember he was talking about, my motor laid down on me. I don't know how that kid beat me.
That's what drivers always say.
Well, we've talked about the inaugural races. Let's show you some of the data that we have compiled. And you can see there's Kevin Harvick's 2 wins at Kentucky and Montreal. We also should give a tip of the hat to our own Dale Jarrett. He won the first race ever at Homestead, Miami, way back in 1995.
You know, every time we went to a new racetrack, I had to bring a backup because I'd crash. I don't know why. It was a new racetrack. I'll crash.
I tell you, I remember back then when Dale won that race in Florida. He spanked him that day. Dale Jarrett flat put it on him that day. And then, you know, that had to be a good feeling to win a race with that much prestige. First time we went to Miami, Dale got it.
Take a look right now. There you see Harvick. He is all over Ricky Stenhouse on his back bumper. Now looking underneath as they go down into turn number 1 and 2. Over the bump of the tunnel. down the backstretch.
One of the things I've been noticing with Kevin, his car's not dropping off as much as everybody else's car. You know, the other guys are dropping off a half a tenth more than his is, and you can see him start working his way up to the front.
No, I'm watching the times right now. Brad Keselowski, Justin Allgaier, and Steve Wallace are pretty well settled in the top 3 positions. But Kyle Busch is catching up just a little bit at a time every single lap, guys.
There's our race leader, Brad Keselowski. 2.1 seconds right now, his lead over Justin Allgaier. He has led 23 laps. Allgaier has led 35.
Well, now, Rusty, he didn't practice yesterday in happy hour. And I heard those guys say, practice? Who needs practice?
Well, he told us he wanted to save the motor. He wanted to save some tires. He just felt that good about his car. And I'll tell you, every time I quit early, it never works for me. It's worked for him, though.
Well, here's a guy that's not quitting right now. Kyle Busch has moved his way up to 4th. He got around Scott Wimmer. His next target is Stephen Wallace. But as you notice, there's a bit of a gap now between the top 5 as this run has gotten a little bit longer. As Kyle Busch is 4th and about a second behind Stephen Wallace in 3rd. So as the action continues here at Iowa, we've run 67 of 250 laps. Brad Keselowski is our race leader. Stay with us. We've had 3 cautions, but we've been lean, mean, and green for quite a few laps. Back under our 4th caution at the Iowa Speedway, and Eric Almirola has just racked up his 2nd car of the weekend. The first one wasn't his fault. He got swept up in some oil. And this one, we haven't seen the replay yet, but it happened up between turns 3 and 4, and there's a lot of damage in the front.
Well, one of the things, when you see that right front all caved in like that, Rusty, this safer barrier has made that hit for a driver not that bad.
And that car's tore big time, no doubt about that. You're right, though, Marty. I mean, Randy, when he hits the wall, it's a big impact, but nothing like it is when you hit concrete.
Eric McClure will be our lucky dog as he'll get the free pass. Put 29 cars back on the lead lap, and there's Almirola making it finally back to pit lane.
Car's got a classic look like a blue, a right front tire getting down into turn 3. Right front's off it. It's tore up pretty bad, that's for sure. I mean, every time I see him wadded up like that, I mean, generally, a driver doesn't get loose going at the corner. He doesn't push the front end from the bottom clear up the top. That tire blows and you clobber it, you can't do nothing about it.
They're going to put 2 of those in the truck, because the one he did the other day after he hit the oil is the same identical 2 destroyed race cars.
Yeah, this is a guy you really got to feel sorry for. The first race you're talking about, Randy, the first crash was on Thursday in practice when Mike Harmon's oil line actually exploded off the car. A fitting broke off the end. I saw it. It dumped oil everywhere. And there was Eric Almirola behind it. He hit the oil and lost that car.
Well, we got a chance. We'll tell you also that Sean Murphy is back out, as is John West Townley. So that means we have 10 cars now officially behind the wall, with Almirola being the 10th. What about some strategy here, fellas? We're at 75 of 250 laps. And anybody going to come? Yeah. Here comes our race leader right at the last minute, Brad Keselowski. And Mike Massaro is going to pick it up with Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch's car, the balance of the car took quite a swing. Very loose to begin the run, but then tightened up. He was very critical of the tire. Does not like this compound. They'll take right sides only in a way, Jack.
They're going to go for 4 brand new Goodyear tires, Sunoco, and they're going to work on the right front. Let's go down to Rick DeBrule.
Working on Brad Keselowski's car. The plan is to give him 4 tires. They just changed 2, working on the inside. They made 1 turn to the track bar. They're going to get him back out. He's comfortable with the way the car is to a degree, but he decided, unlike last time, he's going with 4 tires.
So who wins the race off pit road? As there you see Eric Darnell as he picks up 6 spots, takes absolutely no tires. Will that pay dividends for him? We'll find out. Look at Jason Keller. He picked up 13 spots. Not too shabby. Stephen Wallace lost 6. We'll sort it all out when we come back. To work lap number 79. So we'll find out just how good old tires really are, because right behind him will be Eric Darnell and Kyle Busch on this restart.
I'm going to pick the outside line. What do you think?
I just like the outside right now. There's a lot of room out there. You don't get all bogged down at the bottom of the track. Let's see how Bliss does with it.
60,000 on their feet again as we're back to green flag racing at Iowa. Side by side into turn 2. Jackaroo. Whoa!
So we watched the action down the back straightaway. Guess what happened to Mike Bliss? Mike Bliss had to declare inside or outside as we see 3 wide racing there as Dillon starts to fade back a little bit. He didn't declare soon enough. He wanted to start on the inside. And all of a sudden he got hung up on the outside. That's the end result, guys.
Well, he's in front right now, but Kyle Busch has picked up 2 spots while you were updating on that report, and he is on the high side. Look out, almost got pinched to the wall, and right behind him is Eric Darnell. There's Brett Coleman in the 20. He's working his way back up. Top 4 in your screen.
Boy, Austin Dillon got so high. I mean, he just barely missed that wall. He is going backwards big time. But take a look at these 2 up front. Kyle Busch on the outside, just getting it. Mike Bliss locked on the bottom. Great race.
Got a new race leader. It is now Kyle Busch in front of the 88 of Brad Keselowski. So new tires, obviously a difference now as Bliss was able to hold him off for a bit, but now he's starting to back up.
I mean, Keselowski has 4, Kyle has 2. I think Kyle's going to get him here. The longer they run, the better 4 is going to do. But Kyle Busch started last. He's only gained 42 spots.
Randy, you can put new tires on, and if those tires are cool, 4 tires when they're brand new will outrun 2 tires. But you know, as the race gets going on, those 2 tires can actually catch back up when you have a real hard tire like we got here.
Kyle Busch has now led the last 18 races. Incredible feat. Coming from the back again, and we're not even halfway through this one. There you saw the 20 and the 12 going side by side. That is a battle for position, 5th and 6th. Allgaier's got it.
Remember right now, Justin Allgaier's got the damage in his right front fender pulled out a lot, so the car's probably better this run than it was before. They got 4 tires on it. They got the right front fixed a little bit. It looks like he's got a faster car right now. His lap times look faster.
Kevin Harvick got into the top 10, and that's where he's about been mired since, as he is duking it out right now with Stephen Wallace for 10th and 11th.
Well, Stephen looked really loose that time. That back end kicked out. Looks like they made a pit stop, made some big adjustments. That car's pretty loose right now, wiggling the back end around.
Right in front of Harvick, the 32, Brian Eichler. Let's give him a tip of the hat. He has moved all the way up to 9th position. Eichler.
3 wide.
That was 18 spots that he's improved, and you're right, where we go 3 wide, on board, Trevor Bayne. Now remember, Harvick picked up 4 fresh Goodyears, and it looks like it's paying some dividends.
Absolutely. This is so much fun. All these drivers are having, well, I can't say all of them, but most of them that are passing cars, they're enjoying themselves. They're loving this racetrack, having a great time.
Leffler looking to go down low. We've got 3 wide going into turn number 1. He gets under Kelly Byers in the 10. The 16 is Stenhouse Jr. on the high side.
They are trying really bad to dust off that top lane, that's for sure. That's where they can make some passes. They get a little more rubber up there and that, get some more confidence on the 3rd lane, and we're seeing guys try that right now.
Looking a little further back, there is Brian Eichler, and there's the 66 of Stephen Wallace and Scott Lagasse. They're duking it out for that position. And that's a battle for 15th. Let's get more on Carl Edwards, who's coming up right behind him in 17th, Mike Massaro.
And Marty, he was making a charge until that last pit stop. He was tight in, loose center. What they did was reset the track bar to its original setting. However, they had a miscue on their pit stop, got hung up on the left rear. They dropped some lug nuts, lost 8 spots on pit road. Carl Edwards trying to recover from that right now.
Well, that's one of the things we were talking about, pit stalls. What about the pit crews? They make all the difference in the world.
Take a look as he's underneath Lagasse right now. You can see the telemetry right now.
A lot of throttle, not a lot of brake, very little. Oh, Stephen Wallace is very loose.
Yeah, he has made a pit. He was running 3rd earlier, and they came in for this last pit stop and made some big changes, and it's definitely got that car loose. He's just walking that tail all over the place right now. You got to hold on that thing.
Whoa, and Carl slams the door on Lagasse in the 11. As he says, no, you can't get through that gap, son. Take a look a little further forward. We catch up with Eric Darnell and Mike Bliss. Bliss, after dropping back, has sort of held station now, and here he comes. Looks like he's coming back on towards Darnell, who has that 3rd spot.
We talked about that earlier, about the tire situation. The tires, once they get hot, they kind of equal out. Here comes Bliss, who he didn't pit even last time. He's going back to the front.
Take a look at the battle for the race lead. Kyle Busch and the 88 of Brad Keselowski. Keselowski was underneath, and they go side by side. Kyle maintains.
Boy, Keselowski looks going to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to get in that clean air to get around the 18 of Kyle Busch. But Busch, he needed to get this thing up front to see what he had. Coming from the back of the pack all the way up front. What a heck of a job, but he doesn't know what that car feels like until just now where he got that clean air.
We've seen Kyle Busch all year long. After he runs second, he don't want to talk to nobody. He's not going to give up first place in a hurry, that's for sure.
On board right there with Mike Bliss. He's looking underneath Eric Darnell. That is for third place. Now they are about 3.9 seconds behind the race leaders. And those guys are pulling away the more they keep battling. But they got no choice right now, because if they slow down, here we go again with the race lead. As Brad Keselowski wants to get in there. Oh, and on the front straightaway, we've got a big spin going on with the 26 car. Michael McDowell turns it all the way around. Don't know if he actually made contact with the wall, but there's enough smoke here to not worry about mosquitoes for about a week.
Mosquitoes in Iowa? Maybe.
Could be a few. There it is. There are thousands of fans down there, trust me, folks.
If they like burnt rubber, they just got a nose full of it, that's for sure.
Well, he managed to keep it off the wall as McDowell spins it around, brings out our fifth caution, with Kyle Busch now in the race lead here at the NASCAR Nationwide Series event at Iowa, presented by GoDaddy.com, as we take one more look at it. Oh, he might have gotten some help, fellas. Nice job of keeping it from going into the wall. Take another look from what the starters platform sees. And look at him diving for the flags. Yellow, yellow, yellow. It's our fifth. Stay with us. Back here at Iowa Speedway, that is the 01 of Danny O'Quinn. The reason we're looking at him, he got the lucky dog, so he'll be back on the lead lap when we go back out to green flag racing. We are under our fifth caution right now after Michael McDowell got some help down the front straightaway. Didn't help him too much except to spin him around. He did keep it off the wall, but it means that we'll have another restart in the double file formation. Kyle Busch will be the point man on that. He'll get the choice of the lanes with Brad Keselowski, Eric Darnell, Mike Bliss, Justin Allgaier, and Scott Wimmer, your top six. And boy, for that 18 car, 18 consecutive races, he has now led. The record is 19 by Sam Ard. So he continues to rewrite the record book, gets closer to another one. Don't forget the Sprint Cup Series is at Pocono, presented by Old Spice, tomorrow at 1 Eastern on ESPN. Greg Biffle moved into the top 12 last week. Kyle Busch dropped out. Can Kyle get back in? Well, tune in tomorrow at 1 Eastern. You'll find out. For more, log on to ESPN.com. While we were in commercial break, the 66 of Stephen Wallace did pit, and Randy, they made some major changes.
Well, I think what they did was they went back to where they were at. It looked like the first pit stop they did, they made a huge change, and the car got very loose. They come back, they dropped the track bar, put some grip back in that left rear spring, and let it eat.
Let's get an update on the 66 from Rick DeBrule.
They had a cut rear tire. That was the problem. So now they've made all the adjustments. And the question is, having made all those adjustments based on the fact that they had this problem, does the fact that it's a cut rear tire change all that? So it's one of those, they're not quite sure what they've done.
Well, we're about to find out. As you can see them looking at the tire. He's back in 24th position right now. Pace car is getting ready to pull off. Kyle Busch is taking the outside. We're back to green flag racing here at Iowa Speedway.
See Kyle Busch on the top of this racetrack. Let's see, doing it again. Kyle just loves the top of these tracks. I love watching him on these restarts. He just sets sail, gets gone.
Which he'll definitely go where nobody else goes. That's for sure.
That's the story right there. He'll just take it where if somebody's there, he's going to go around him, inside, outside. He doesn't care. And he usually gets it done on the first 2 or 3 laps of his restarts.
On board with Brad Keselowski. Meanwhile, we can tell you that Eric Darnell fell back a couple of spots on that restart. And these two are trying to check out on the rest of the field. And look at Scott Wimmer. He's using that high lane as well. He has moved up to third, gotten around Mike Bliss. So Wimmer going to try and catch up to the 2 up front, see if he can make it a 3-car battle.
Well, Brad Keselowski and him, those are team cars out of the same junior motorsports shop. So you know those guys are very similar. And more that, as you see on the racetrack, they do run it.
Back on board with Brad Keselowski.
These guys are settled in right now, Marty. They're understanding what they need for tire pressure. Some of the guys made mistakes, like Stephen Wallace. They're getting that stuff fixed. He had a flat tire. A lot of guys are knowing what they need to do right now, and the track is definitely changing as this race goes on. More rubber getting down on it.
As we see the 99 and Jason Keller, you've got to give a heads up to Jason Keller and that race team. They're out of Nashville. They don't have all the technology that they have in Charlotte. That Clean X car is running pretty good.
You can see Keller right now as he is in the 8th position, just a few spots behind. Pick up Kevin Harvick in 10th, and then drop back just a little bit further behind the 38 of Jason Leffler. There comes the 60 of Carl Edwards with Kelly Byers on his hip. And then 62 of Brendan Gaughan's going to try and make it 3 wide.
He's running that high side. He said he's going to get that thing grooved in. He'll be up there all in the afternoon, later this afternoon, that's for sure.
Brendan Gaughan just loves running the top of the track, whether he runs the Truck Series or whether he runs the NASCAR, the Sprint Cup Series, or the Nationwide. He's just one of those top feeders, I call it.
He's closer to the wall. He won't hit it as hard.
Well, and Carl, if you remember, as he looks underneath again, told our guys before the start of the race, he felt that the low line was better for his car based on what he felt on Thursday when he had that 6-hour practice session. And that's where he's been basically living all day. Look at this. This could be interesting. Whoa! Byers slides up in front of the 62.
That's something. I've always been a bottom feeder. I always loved running the bottom. I tell my kids that yellow line is your friend through the center of the corner. The closer you get your car to work on the bottom, it'll work anywhere.
Randy, I got to agree with you. Every time I race, I love the bottom side of the racetrack. And if I got at the very top, I felt, man, if this car slips just a little bit, I'm going to clobber that wall. But a lot of guys don't care about it. They like to get up there and just let her run.
Take a look as we got a battle for the race lead. The 88 of Keselowski shoots into the corner and passes the 18 of Kyle Busch.
Boy, that was I would have never thought Kyle was, he has patience. He's learned a lot. He's okay. He's a little better than me. Let me just settle in, see what I have behind this car.
You know, the 88 car did run that last practice session. We might have talked about that earlier in the broadcast. The very last one last night, from 5 to 6 o'clock, he didn't even go out there. I really thought that was a wrong move, but it looks like it's working for him.
You think Kyle Busch is just saying, I want to see what my car does behind him?
No, I don't think so. I think Kyle Busch wants to lead every single lap he can. I think the 88's just faster right now, Randy.
Well, remember also the Dash for Cash. There's another $50,000 bonus for the guy who scores the most points in these 4 races. Guess who's first and second in this deal? It's Kyle Busch leading by about 25 points over Brad Keselowski.
That's one thing. If Kevin Harvick does not win this race, somebody's going to come out of here with a record purse.
Take a look at 3 wide. Kelly Byers has got the low line. Oh, the 32 of Eichler slides up into the 62 of Gaughan, and he's hanging on for dear life.
And I think Gaughan's got a flat left rear tire out of that deal, I think. I believe I saw the fender get in. There it is.
Yeah, you're right, Rusty. He's got a problem.
The 32 got in his left rear.
Oh! And now he gets spun around. And we've got 3 different cars. That's Austin Dillon in the 2. And
oh! Almost had it cleared.
And that's Stephen Light in the 29. How did he get mixed up in this?
And believe it or not, the 62 is not really tore up too bad out all that spinning around. If they can get back to pit road, the 29 and Brendan Gaughan, they're going to be okay.
That's one of the hardest things. When you're coming down and you cut a tire, exiting a corner, you really don't feel anything until you get to the next corner. Flat left rear tire, boys, hang on.
Well, just about the time I thought we're going to see some really cool 3-wide racing. I saw the 32 car of Brian Eichler just barely touched that left rear tire and it blew it out.
Look at the damage on the left rear quarter panel on the 29 of Stephen Light. Take another look. Here's what's happened.
So the left rear tire's gone on Gaughan's car. It's out of there. He's holding on for dear life at this point. A couple guys get around and there is, oh, the 2 Childress cars crash into each other. Austin Dillon, Stephen Light.
And it was Ken Butler in the 23 that sort of triggered all this. As watch again, watch the 23 come in and just clip the end. As there it is.
The 23 goes up, and then the 2 car, the 29 car, the 2 car was almost in the driver's net of the 29 car.
And this is how it all started. Take a look.
They get down into the 32 car. Brian Eichler gets a little bit loose, chases up the racetrack, and it just probably knocked the valve out of the left rear wheel.
Now the tailpipes in these cars, guys, stick out about 1 inch past the outside of the body, and it looks like that got into the left rear tire of Brendan, but I could not believe the spin that Brendan had and didn't hit the wall on the outside.
Rick, what's going on?
Well, just down here in the Brendan Gaughan pit, once again they're working on the left rear, trying to pull the bodywork back. The tire was shredded. They've already tossed it over the wall. They're trying to put some paper on the back of the car, trying to get some structure to the bodywork, but at this point, it's just patching things together so they can get back out.
Well, we can tell you the 23 of Butler has gone to the garage area. We can also tell you the 89 of Morgan Shepherd will get the lucky dog, and that means we will have 31 cars on the lead lap. And we do have some takers on the pit lane, including Mike Bliss and Eric Darnell, who has a nice big donut on the right side of his number 6. Also, Michael Annette's coming in, as is McDowell and a few others.
One of the things I seen when the 2 and the 29 got tangled up, the back end of the 2 car went into the side of the 29 car.
There's the action on the pit stop for the number 1 of Mike Bliss.
You know, he's hoping for a long green flag run. His last pit stop was lap 42.
Jack, give us an update on the 1.
Well, the biggest problem they had and why they wanted to come on the pit road, you saw a crew member go to the front of the grill. In the midst of that accident to debris, Mike Bliss picked up a bunch of brake duct, and they were trying to get it out from the grill, because if it gets stopped up, well, then it's going to start to overheat.
Thanks for the update. Now we know why. As you pointed out also, Randy, he needed to get in. And it looks like right now, well, Brad Keselowski has led 40 laps. That's more than anybody else. Justin Allgaier is second in that category with 35. We've had 5 different leaders with 5 lead changes here at the Nationwide Series at Iowa, presented by GoDaddy.com. One more look at all the carnage that took place just a few moments ago. Our 6th caution here at Iowa Speedway. At the U.S. Cellular 250, and it was Brad Keselowski choosing the outside line, so far paying dividends. Down the backstretch, it's Kyle Busch in the 18. Number 12 with Justin Allgaier, and we're on board.
Look at that. Here he comes. He's had a little trouble on pit road. He sees the leader. That's one thing these double file restarts do. You can see the leader. You're going to get that guy.
Well, the thing I love so much about these restarts, just like you said, Randy, if you're running, say, 15th or something, you're not 15th. You're like 7th on the restart. You know, you're not all the way back. You got a shot to still get back in the game with these double file restarts.
And not many guys can say they passed Kyle Busch this year. Those guys get up and say, I'm jumped up on a wheel. I passed Kyle Busch.
And he's doing it. He's just taken over second spot, and here comes Scott Wimmer along for the ride in the number 5.
Tell you what, guys, I like this Thursday practice they gave these folks to let everybody get better. You know, they go to these racetracks all the time, and they never have enough time to get right. And that 18 car of Kyle Busch and that 20 car Logano generally kill everybody, but not today. Today, they're much, much closer. Jack?
Justin Allgaier all afternoon has been practicing just one thing, going into the corner and rolling the car through the middle of the corner. His fastest laps have been right where he's running right now, guys. They keep cautioning him about it and keep telling him, just have your rhythm, be patient, and roll into the corner. Somebody forgot to tell Kyle Busch that.
And this is a great 4-car battle, because if you poke your head just a little further back, you can see the 20 of Brad Coleman trying to get into this mix as well.
You know, Brad, he had a rough start last weekend. This race car, this race team, every race they won, they beat Kyle Busch with Joey Logano in the car. That race team is awesome.
Look at this, 3 wide going down into the corner. On the inside is 66 of Stephen Wallace, Eric Darnell, and then Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
And Marty, what just happened? The 6 car's got 4 new tires. I've been watching him. He's been blowing through the field on those new tires. He picked up about 5 positions in like 2 laps. And that's how good those 4 tires were compared to these guys staying out.
Darnell is up to 13th right now, and he picked up 8 spots just to back up what you were talking about. And here is the battle back towards the front. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and 5th right there in your screen, as Kyle Busch still on the low line. The other 3 basically riding up a little higher in lane number 2. Mike, you've got more on Kyle?
Yeah, and he's just fighting a tight race car right now, Marty. His spotter, Jeff Dickerson, coming over the radio moments ago saying, look, you're getting beat from the center off, and you can see that's a result of that being a very tight race car. Just will not rotate the way he wants it to.
Now, Rusty, how aggravated did you get when your spotter's like, okay, you're getting beat, and you're sitting in that race car saying, no kidding, I'm on the gas, I'm turning the wheel, I got to roll out of it so I don't run into nobody. I'm not sure that's all good things to say, hey, where you getting beat? Because the drivers do know where they can be.
Well, a good spotter's really got to calm their driver down. They can't be, mean to them like, hey, you're getting your doors blown off, buddy. You can't say stuff like that. You got to say stuff like, hey, we'll get it in next time to work on it, man. Stay calm. Don't lose it on me. Stay ahead. Don't give up. Don't give up. You got to soft sell him a little bit.
Well, he's lost another spot to Scott Wimmer, and now here comes the 20 of Brad Coleman.
There's a lot of time left. We're lap 121 right now in this race. Heck, we got 129 laps to go. And he'll get time to work in that car and fix it. But I will tell you, the competition has caught up to this 18 car.
Well, he's going to the high side. He likes that high line, and it's going to pay a dividend again as he gets back around Scott Wimmer. So put Kyle back into the 3rd position, bump Wimmer back to 4th, and there comes the 20 of Coleman, and also the 99 of Trevor Baynes starting to pull closer.
And that's one thing. When your car's tight on the bottom, when you can move up a little bit, the radius is a lot easier on the right front tire, and a car might like it up top.
So we are almost halfway. Your race leader by 2.3 seconds here at the Nationwide Series race at Iowa, presented by GoDaddy.com, is that guy driving the GoDaddy.com Chevrolet, Brad Keselowski. Back here, Brad Keselowski at Iowa Speedway is leading here over Justin Allgaier. And as we take a look at our Holiday Inn race summary, you can see how many leaders. And in fact, we've had 5 with 5 lead changes. There's our average speed. 94 and change. We've had 29 cars right now on the lead lap.
And it looks like they've settled in right now. And these guys know what they got in their cars. They know where to run. They know where to get nervy and not nervy out there. And looking pretty good right now, just like this guy right here.
And while you mentioned they have settled in, let's get our Nationwide Insurance up to speed as we check in with our race leader, Rick.
Well, probably no big surprise, but Brad Keselowski likes his car, especially after the adjustments they made the last time he was in. He came in, they made track bar adjustments, and he is one happy guy. Jack?
Justin Allgaier finds himself back in the 2nd position. It is a long way back from your leader, but he looks in his rearview mirror. He likes his race car. They've worked on the tight condition coming out. He looks in that rearview mirror, Mike Massaro, and he sees a Tiger ready to bounce.
And a lot of debate in the 18 camp the last caution whether or not to come down pit road. Jason Radcliffe called them off because they don't feel like they had enough tires. They've only got 2 full sets, so they're in a bit of conservation mode. In the meantime, he's battling a very tight race car. He just came over the radio and said this has been the way it's been all week. Every time I've been in this car, he believes it's something in the front end, Jackaroo.
Meanwhile, right behind them, and this is a team that had trashed the car in practice, but Scott Wimmer has been fighting a loose condition going in and a tight car coming out. They have tried to keep at least 1 set of sticker tires. They want to make another stop, and then they'll try and cure that. Meanwhile, right behind Scott Wimmer, there's a little bit of distance, but it is Kevin Harvick, who started way in the back. The car was very, very loose in the beginning. The Jimmy Jones team has worked very hard, and now he says he has a car to go to the front. Behind Kevin Harvick, working real hard, has been Brad Coleman all day. All he has said on the radio is tight, tight, tight. The Gibbs team continues to work on it. Rick DeGroote.
Let's talk about Trevor Bayne. When he first went out after this last stop, he said the car felt better. However, since he's been out on the track, he says the car is starting to get free on the entry again. So he's not totally happy with the car. Hopefully they can make adjustments on that next stop. Jack?
Meanwhile, directly behind him, when Trevor Bayne is the 6th car. Eric Darnell had come all the way up to run in the 3rd spot. He has been fighting a tight condition all afternoon. They have not been able to cure that condition, and Mike Massaro, he has faded to the back of the top 10.
And we're talking about one of his Roush Fenway teammates, Carl Edwards. Before that last round of pit stops, he was complaining loose in, tight center. They reset the track bar to where it was at the beginning of the race. Carl came over the radio not too long ago and said that adjustment was absolutely perfect. The car's pretty good. Still trying to fight his way through traffic, though, Jack.
Meanwhile, directly behind Carl Edwards, it is Jason Leffler. Now, Jason Leffler told his crew chief, he said, we are so walled into the ballpark, you've got to do something radically to get me back in. Guys, they haven't found the radical thing to work yet.
All right, thank you, guys. Let's also update you on two other cars that have really moved up. Michael Annette has picked up 16 spots, and he now finds himself in 16th. And Morgan Shepherd has picked up 15 spots. He's up to 26th. So good work by both those cars. And Brad Keselowski, you take a look at our race leader. He has now exceeded the total number of laps he's led in the first 20 races of 2009. That was 64. He's led 69 and counting today. The Iowa Speedway, we have just gone under our 7th caution. There is debris on the racetrack, so the 2.3-second lead that Brad Keselowski had over Justin Allgaier just evaporated. Kevin Harvick, you see there, has moved into the top 10, although Eric Darnell did slide past him, so he's back to 8th as the pace car is out. And there comes the race leader as he comes in. Justin Allgaier also comes in. Let's go to Mike Massaro first.
And Kyle Busch been saying the same thing about his race car very consistently. Tight, tight, tight. They're going to make a track bar adjustment and a wedge adjustment, just trying to get that car to turn. A 4-tire change here on the 18 car.
More for Justin Allgaier, and they've made an air pressure adjustment on the right side. They want to give him a little bit more speed. Rick DeBrule.
Leader Brad Keselowski brought the car in. He loves the way it feels. All they have to do is change tire. They are putting on 4 tires so he can go back out. But once again, no adjustments, no track bar, no air pressure. But they've got a little bit of problem on the left rear. They dropped one of the lug nuts, so it delays his getting out.
It will cost him, and no spillage of Sunoco fuel like we saw in one of the pit stops earlier. Take a look. Stephen Light, remember, he was involved in that last caution. He picks up 12 spots by taking only 2 tires, as does Mike Bliss. Keselowski loses 4 because of the lug nut problem. So it looks like when it all shakes out, Kyle Busch may be the man they are all going to be chasing. And there's trouble for the 33. Kevin Harvick comes in. We will update you on what happened on his pit stop. And he is the one guy who can spoil the dash for cash. Stay with us. To Green Flag Racing here at Iowa. Kyle Busch was the race leader. He has Justin Allgaier behind him with Mike Bliss, Scott Wimmer, Stephen Light. That's your top 5. Boy, Light really doing a great job. His crew got him out, but remember, he took 2 tires, and now it looks like he may be getting shuffled a little bit.
This is where you got to be real careful. Guys in the front, they get track position, but they start backing up because the 4 tires are definitely quicker.
Major development during the commercial break. While you watch all this action, we have to tell you, Kevin Harvick in the 33 is behind the wall in the garage. We have Jack Arute heading for what is wrong. Jack?
Talk right now, so we won't talk. We're going to get in with Kevin Harvick real quick. It looked like an oil line or something in the back, Kevin. What happened?
Yeah, I just want to apologize to everybody from Jimmy John's. Our Chevrolet was running pretty good. Too tight in the middle, and the brakes wobbled. They didn't do a very good job yesterday getting everything situated, but they said this line broke on the back of the 29. Maybe they just didn't check this one. I don't know.
That's a tough break because, guys, he was coming, as you could tell.
Well, and what this means is he was the only guy that could deny a winner in the $75,000 bonus dash for cash from Nationwide. Whoa, trouble. Bliss is turned around on the front straightaway. Trevor Bayne looks like he scraped the wall trying to get past him.
I think Trevor Bayne got into him a little bit. Trevor got a little loose, tried to save it, and got in the back of Bliss.
Looks like Bayne's going to be okay, though. I mean, he's got a little damage right there. Bliss looks like he's okay, too.
Yeah, he got some right side damage.
Yeah, let's check the right side of the car.
Well, it looks like they can probably pull that out, guys. I mean, I don't see big damage that can keep him from going behind the wall or not staying in this race.
Well, Bliss was running in the top 3 at the time. This is the 2nd week in a row he has had a tough break. Let's go back and take another look.
99 gets loose. He hit the apron. And the thing chased it up the racetrack. And he hit the wall pretty hard on the outside.
Yeah, he
Mike
didn't
hit nothing, though.
He got it harder than I thought, but it looks like I still don't think. I think these guys can fix it.
Another view.
Right here.
Whoa.
He hit the apron. As soon as we've seen guys do that during qualifying.
Maybe I'll take that back, Brad. He hit pretty hard.
99, yeah. 99's are not done for the day.
You know, when I watch those doggone Sprint Cup car tomorrow's hit the wall, I mean, they clobber. They keep going, you know. These things are a little not as tough.
Well, and one of the goals of the new car that NASCAR is talking about is to make it a little safer, a little more durable. There's Trevor Bayne in pit lane. So for the second week in a row, he's going to have to work back towards the front. Taking one more look from on board Trevor Bayne's car as we head to commercial. And thanks, Paul, because James Stewart is going to be out of that action because of a shoulder injury, so maybe Josh does get it again. Back here at Iowa Speedway, take a look. Trevor Bayne is back in. He's already one lap down. They have got a lot of damage on this car.
Absolutely. You look at some of these pit crew guys, when these guys are wrestling, this could be a next games itself, just in these pit stops.
Well, it could be, but hey, give me a break now. Look, they got the thing back in the racetrack.
Well, you said there's no damage on there.
Well, there's a little damage, you know, not too bad, though.
Rick, you've got more?
Well, you missed it a while ago. They had the sledgehammer out there putting this thing back together. You know, you do what you can. They brought it in. They changed the right side tire. They went to work on the body work. They got him back out to get him a little more track position. They do as much work as they can and then move him back out. For the time being, right now, these guys are body work specialists.
Well, we should also tell you, Scott Wimmer came back in on lap 154 after just pitting on lap 146. He has dropped down to 22nd place as we're back to green flag racing with Kyle Busch, Justin Allgaier, Eric Darnell, Brad Keselowski as they head into turn one.
It seems like everybody always likes the high side here on their restarts.
A little more breather room up there, Randy. They can settle in and not worry about sliding up in anybody. If that car slips a little bit, they got some more real estate up there to slide around at.
7 of the 8 restarts have been from the outside.
We watched this 12 car, Rusty, all day yesterday. The thing had a nice attitude in that thing.
This could be one of the best runs I've seen Allgaier run all year long. They had time to get the car handling right. They worked on it hard, and it's really showing right now with that extra time they had on Thursday to get that car tuned up.
Second, third, and fourth. Look at Darnell up on the outside. You can't even see him.
That was Trevor Bayne down low that you saw. He's now 2 laps down behind the leaders. You know, you guys mentioned about Allgaier. His best finish was 5th back at Kentucky, and this is his 25th nationwide race. And he is very aware that Dodge has not had a win in this series since August of 2007. And right now he's got his hands full with Brad Keselowski.
And he knows he wants some points. And the guy leading the points is in front of him. He's like, I got to go get that guy.
They just can't hold Keselowski back. I mean, he just got a strong car today. And like I said earlier, I can't believe he didn't even practice last night. But I guess he knew he had a real bad hot rod.
Guys, just got word from NASCAR officials. Trevor Bayne's going to be held an additional lap, excessive speed, and also a commitment lane violation. So that'll put him 4 laps down. His race is over.
Man, when it rains, it pours. And, you know, it seems like it happens all the time. When a guy gets in an accident, things go worse.
Here we go. Brad Keselowski looking underneath Allgaier again down the front straightaway, and he looks like he may clear him. Can he hold the low line? He's got him.
Through the rusty bump, out the corner.
You got to stop calling it the rusty bumps. You're making this poor guy a complex.
I'm going to give you a shovel. You go down and fix that bump yourself, okay? I don't think it's that bad, but it's something good to talk about.
That's right, character bump.
That's cool.
All right, Eric Darnell is looking at the number 12 now, and he's got him in his gun sights. Wants to get around him, move up to 3rd. We can tell you that Kyle Busch's lead is 1 second. This is some of the best action we've got on the track. Almost touched.
Look at the front of those cars, right on the ground. That's what the guys worked on all day Thursday, Rusty, is get those cars slammed to the ground so no air gets under those cars. Maximum downforce on the front of these things.
I love watching those shots, Randy. I mean, it's just cool to shut up and not say nothing and watch what these cars look like on the racetrack. And you're right, look how low those things are. They're just eating up that asphalt.
Let's get more on the 12 with Justin Allgaier, Jack.
Well, the reason you see Justin Allgaier having his hands full with Eric Darnell is because of the only place that it seems that he can run, especially in the corner, is right there in the middle groove. If he tries to go a little too hard, the car bounds up. If he goes too low, the car loosens up. So that has left the bottom open and the top open. And each and every time through a corner, it's been an adventure for your second place car, Justin Allgaier.
Well, right now, it's Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Allgaier, Darnell, Leffler. That's your top 5.
When they come off that turn 4, they almost touch every single time. They try to clear each other, and you see Eric Darnell.
Oh, and a crash. And Brad Coleman and the 32 of Eichler, and both these cars were running in the top 10. They were 7th and 8th on the track, and this is exactly what Brad Coleman did not need.
A lot this year to Coleman. feel sorry for him. He's got a great car he's driving there, having a good run today, and gets in another crash.
Eichler had picked up 20 spots, moved that Dollar General machine into the top 10. Coleman was living in the top 10 all day long, and now he's got big problems. Take another look.
Simultaneous sprint. I mean, I'm not quite sure if they even touched each other.
Is this synchronized spinning? Ooh, ow, that hurt.
Is that a limiting event?
Not anymore.
Okay.
You can't tell if that really happened a little farther back in the corner. Maybe they got side by side and touched.
Where were they? Oh, yeah. Right over the tunnel. What was that?
Oh, here you go again with the bump. Safety crew on hand, and window net is down. That's always a good sign that lets everybody know that the drivers are A-OK.
It's pretty hard to tell whether the 32 car actually got loose and Brad reacted to him getting ready to spin, because they were so far apart when they were spinning in our shot. They weren't side by side at all.
And you didn't see anybody dump any oil down right in front of them.
See the safety trucks up there inspecting the track, taking a look at everything, looking at the safer barrier. Looks like it's staying in good shape. But boy, look at all those marks on that racetrack. There's been a lot of carnage out there.
I was going to say, it looks like that's the set of tire marks with the most recent right there where that safety vehicle leads in. Let's go on board with Carl Edwards. Maybe we'll get a different perspective on what happened here.
Top of the screen. Oh, the 20 car. Okay, they didn't. The 20 car got loose into the 32. Clean both of them out.
And isn't that what happened last week with the 20 car on the first lap? Got loose, got into the turn, got into another car, took himself out of the contention.
He was on the bottom of the track right there, about in the middle of turn 1 and 2, and he just shot all the way up the racetrack. And I mean, he went up a lane and a half before he hit that 32 car Eichler.
Yeah, so for Brian Eichler, it's the end of what was a spectacular run. He had really worked that 32 car up into the top 10 nicely. Right now, it is Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, and Justin Allgaier. That's your top 5 here at Iowa, presented by GoDaddy.com as the Nationwide Series debut here at this beautiful track continues. Let's take a look at our Verizon Wireless race rundown. Pit problems early for Justin Allgaier as he had contact. Trevor Bayne, as you can see, almost got a tire loose there, and that's the same incident that collected Allgaier's problem. Then Brendan Gaughan has a little contact with the 32 Brian Eichler, and that cuts a tire, and then it all breaks loose when the 23 of Butler gets in to the 62 and turns him around. A little bit later, behind the wall, Kevin Harvick, as he have a problem. As we can also tell you that Scott Wimmer has just gone behind the wall. And then in lap 153, Mike Bliss gets some help from Trevor Bayne. Bliss stays off the wall, but not so lucky for Bayne. And from 42nd to the race lead, Kyle Busch has now led 49 laps. He's our 5th different leader in this race. Right behind him is Brad Keselowski, Justin Allgaier, and Leonard in your top 5. And of course, our reason for our 9th caution here is you go on board. You can see Brad Coleman slides up into Brian Eichler in the 32 and pretty much ends the day for both of them.
And that's something that, you know, it's so tough that you got to be so careful with these race cars. They're so loose at the beginning of a run that you almost got to give yourself extra room.
Well, you got a reason. You got the reason why the 5 went behind the wall.
Marty, and the reason why he was slowing down. All of a sudden, they noticed that he was pushing oil into the exhaust. It was starting to smoke, and eventually, the engine gave up the ghost.
Yeah, that's a Hendrick motor. You never see those things fail, so that was amazing.
I wonder if there's any concern in the 88 pit. You know, those are the same engines in both of those cars.
Sure make you think about it, wouldn't it? Seems like when one happens to one, happens to the other.
Getting ready to go back to green flag racing. Just been informed NASCAR is going to penalize the Brad Coleman team. Too many men over the wall as we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing. Kyle Busch again takes the high side as we are green at Iowa with 78 laps to go.
3 wide going in, and Darnell's on the outside.
Hang on, will everybody make it through?
Well, look at Stephen Light up there. He's all the way back to the 8th position right now after that crash he had earlier, hanging in and outside there.
There's your top 5. Well, in fact, there's your top 10 all in the same shot.
What about Kelly Myers? What a great run for Kelly in 5th spot right now.
Hey, that number 10 car, Braun Racing Toyota that Kelly's driving. We all know Kelly's a great driver. In fact, Kevin Harvick looks like he's going to work with Kelly a lot next year.
You saw the 11 of Scott Lagasse going underneath, trying to pick up a position.
Carl Edwards on the bottom side of the racetrack working on Leffler. Oh, he slides up a little bit, almost gets into him.
That's a battle for sixth, right in front of his buyers. And now let's take a look at the race lead. Keselowski wants it. Busch has it. They go down into one.
Marty, I've been watching the first 5 laps. Every single restart, these guys just go like the Banshee, and that old hard tire that Goodyear brought, that good safe tire, I'll call it, it just doesn't have the grip after about 5 laps, but it runs like crazy for about 5 before it settles in.
Kyle gets about a lap, or I should say a car length ahead. We can tell you that Brian Eichler has been released from the medical center. He is okay. On board with Keselowski, you can see the last laps by the leader and Brad.
He's quicker right through the center of the corner.
He gets a lot of momentum, just like you said, right through there, and uses that to his advantage. See Kyle's just choosing that second lane and staying in it, and Brad's pulling that nose down, trying to get that downforce to the front of that car. And all these drivers will tell you, they want to get that nose clean so that thing's stuck good so they can turn underneath them, just like Brad's trying to do right there.
Yeah, if he gets a chance, he's going to stick that GoDaddy thing right up that Toyota right there.
Go get him some pizza, right?
Let's get an update on the 88, Rick DeBrule.
Well, don't forget, he chose not to run the final practice session because Brad Keselowski thought that car was so good. Obviously, he was right. In fact, I keep asking the team, has he said anything? They said, nope, not a thing. He loves it.
That's one thing. When the driver doesn't talk, boy, he's a happy camper.
He's taking a look on the inside. Right behind is Eric Darnell saying, hey, you guys take each other out. I'll inherit the lead. Down into one. They're side by side. Does he have enough oomph coming off the corner? No, Kyle's got him.
Well, remember, guys, these nationwide engines don't have a lot of power, so it's all about momentum. I mean, they're way off in horsepower compared to the Cup cars. And they got to keep them wound up in the center of the corners, and that's what helps with Kyle Busch running that top side of that track, keeping them wound up.
Take a look at Scott Wimmer and Mike Bliss. They are battling for position. Now, remember, both have had, or Stephen Light, I'm sorry, in the 29. And you got Light on the high side. Both of them have had their moments on the racetrack. Bliss, of course, got turned around, and here they are still battling for a top 10 position.
Well, Randy, there's one thing for sure. The right side of the car is more important than the left side, because that left side's torn to pieces on that 29 car, and it doesn't look like slowing Stephen Light down a bit.
That's one thing, Rusty. The right sides is so important on these cars. When they get them in yaw, which is a little bit, you know, the right rear out, try to get as much air to that rear spoiler, which is downforce.
That is the battle for 11th on the racetrack. While all this is going on, Jack Arute is caught up with Brian Eichler.
He's been released from the infield care center, and he's made his way back to watch his crew start to dissect his Dollar General number 32. Any idea, Brian, exactly what happened?
You know, other than we're working the high groove there, we had a pretty little tight race car, and the 20 just dove in no and lost his nose and pushed up to us and took us out. So thought we were gonna have a good run here for Dollar General this afternoon, but day in and short.
I understand the big question everybody wants to know is, are you going to go to work for Kyle Busch next year? There was some talk about that in some of the local papers and things.
I don't know. It's all performance based, and we just run as good as we can and get as many rides as we can. And unfortunately, today didn't end as good as we thought.
Guys?
Well, I'll tell you what, Kyle Busch has said very plainly, if I ever start a team, he's the guy I'd like to have for my driver. Battle for the race lead is heating up again. Here comes Keselowski, and again, Kyle's able to slam the door.
They won't give up. They keep running side by side every single lap. And boy, the turn four is what looks like it sets up this pass. It just puts them right up in the bumper, and also the exit of turn two. Those are two corners I'm seeing that these nationwide cars are loving to run at.
If the 88, if Keselowski could clear him, he'll go on down the road. He just can't get a big enough run off the corner to clear him.
These two have opened up a full second lead over third place Eric Darnell, and then it's another second back to Justin Allgaier in fourth. Here comes Brad one more time, down into the corner. He's gritting his teeth, hoping to hold on.
And Kyle Busch is saying, no way, baby, I'm keeping this thing wound up. You're not going to get me right now, because Kyle's got this place figured out right now. He's won here before, remember.
Did it in the Camping World East-West combo race.
This is the closest Brad has been able to stay. I think he's going to clear him this lap.
Here we go. He's got a nose on him. Now, can he finish the deal through 2 over the bump? And survey says no, I don't think so.
I still got a half a lap.
Going to try it again down into 3. These guys are beating up on each other. But you know what's really amazing is they're maintaining this 1 second margin over 3rd place. You would think that would give those guys a chance to pull up on them.
The lap times, they are running the same lap times. There's about 8 cars in the top 10 running the same lap times. Is he going to clear him this lap?
Here he comes. Does he have him coming out of 2? No, it's a drag race down to 3.
I love watching this. You know, you would hope when the track got built with having 3 different angles of banking, 12 on the bottom, 13 and 14, that these guys could run in their own individual lanes. And Randy, looks like they're doing it.
Well, you know what, Rusty? I just happened to look out the window. These fans are going crazy here. Yes, he cleared him.
He's got him. He finally gets him coming out of 2. And you're right, the 60,000 plus on there. Look at them. They are just loving every minute of this first race in the Nationwide Series there at Iowa Speedway.
So there's one thing for sure. Nobody's leaving. Nobody's trying to get to the highway first. They don't get stuck in traffic. They're all still in their seats.
6 lead change between 5 different leaders. And right now it is Keselowski in front of Kyle Busch, Eric Darnell, Allgaier, and Byers. That's your top 5 after 189 of 250 laps. Who wins it? Come back. Remember, there's an extra bonus for 75 grand on the line. Back at the Iowa Speedway, take a look at the Nationwide Dash for Cash. Here are the overall points, and this is really significant because Brad Keselowski has now opened up a 1.6 second lead over Kyle Busch. That's going to narrow that gap. That's a $50,000 bonus for the points total after the 4 races. The last race is Memphis in October, but there's $75,000 at stake today for whoever wins this race. And we asked Brad Keselowski what, well, his feelings were about possibly being the underdog.
I kind of like the underdog role. I feel like it actually takes some of the pressure off myself and my team and allows us just to go out there and race. I'm not really worried about what everybody else thinks. I'm just ready to go do it.
And he has now opened up a 2-second lead. So exactly what you said. You said if he gets by Kyle, he's going to check out.
You know, one other thing he said about being an underdog. Rusty, we both had to chase guys to win our championships. It's always easier to chase guys than it is to lead these guys.
Well, we're looking at Tony Eury Sr. And Rick, what's he saying as far as race strategy?
Well, the big question is, will they have to stop again? They made their last stop on lap 145. They think they can go the distance all the way to 250 on this last load. The question, however, is running hard with Kyle Busch the way they did it eat up fuel? No, more importantly, did it eat up tires? Is it going to start to fade towards the end? So the hope is they can go the distance. Maybe if they get a yellow, they'll get the fuel window, but who knows what it'll do to the tires.
Well, Rick, I tell you, that's a good point. I mean, these guys last pitted on lap 145. We talked earlier, the teams are saying they can go about 105 laps. I mean, you add 105 to 145, that puts you at 250, and baby, you're out of gas on the last lap. So it's just going to be close.
Now, what about a green-white checkered?
Let's get the strategy on the 18, Mike Massaro.
Well, you got to imagine the 18 team is hoping for another caution for a couple of reasons. One, so they can adjust their race car a little bit and give them another shot at the 88 and this victory. The other reason, fuel. I just spoke with team manager Steve D'Souza, asked him if they could go the distance. He said, I think so. And I spoke with their fuel guy, and he said, we're going to be real close.
All right, thanks, guys. You know, we've been following that battle because it was nose to tail. It's sort of stretched out a bit. It's going to give us a chance to drop back a little in the field. Got to give a tip of the hat. Second week in a row, Kenny Wallace is in the top 10. The 28 Border Patrol car right there. He was 10th last week at ORP. He's running 9th right now.
Man, the Border Patrol, what's the closest border? A couple thousand miles? We're in the middle of the country here. But that's a great sponsorship. It's a great deal these guys are doing for our country.
Hey, Kenny's been doing a great job for these guys. He really feels prepared for this race. He loves running up here. And he told me this morning, Rusty, for the first time all year long, I feel like I got a car to win, that I can run the top 10. I feel like I got a good, solid piece. Mike?
He's just been showing a lot of patience, Rusty, today. The car was not perfect to start the day. Real loose, especially between turns 3 and 4. They kept tuning on that race car, making chassis adjustments and air pressure adjustments. Kenny's been patient. He's been driving the car pretty well, consistently inside the top 10 for, I would say, the last 80 laps or so.
Well, we've seen him in 3 races, had that wig on. You think he still got that wig on?
You guys really burned me the other day. I'll tell you, with those wigs and that Rusty's roast, that's pretty cool, though. Can't live ahead of hair like that.
That is a battle for position. Mike Bliss right behind him there is in 10th, so that's what's been going on there. Notice Brad Coleman, he sort of survived that crash. He has managed to stay on the lead lap. He's the last car on the lead lap. In fact, he just went one lap down as you see our race leader going around. And how about Morgan Shepherd? Tip of the hat to Morgan. He is up to 15th, folks, on the lead lap, and boy, what a limited budget.
17th last week at ORP. You know, great job from Morgan. He gets a lot of help from Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick. You know, Morgan, 2 thumbs up, man.
And the last guy to make it in the field, he started 43rd in this field, and it was a real nail biter getting him in this field. Lad barely made it in. And just like you guys said, I mean, what a great job. 15th right now.
That's the view from Trevor Bayne as he is several laps down after all the contact that he had. But boy, old Morgan Shepherd has managed to pick up 26 positions, and he's on the lead lap. But right now, the man everybody's trying to catch is Brad Keselowski. 2.2 seconds his lead over Kyle Busch with 44 laps to go here at Iowa. 12.
Justin's getting a little loose right there, but that's not the one we're actually talking about. He's going to get down this next corner. Allgaier loses it, takes out Austin Dillon, and tears off the right front corner of Justin Allgaier's fender. And he was really slowing up there, guys.
Let's listen.
He was pedaling, then he says, I'm just holding it wide open. And he cut down the left front of the 2 car, and he went up and just finally cut out.
On board with Jason Leffler.
Guys, I can tell you one thing. The only place that ever works is on a video game.
Yeah.
I watch guys do that, just plow through there. That's what just happened there. I mean, Justin Allgaier banging through there.
Let's go a few laps later, and this is when the caution comes out.
Left front tire goes down, and you see he's going to High Point University next year, and he went to school today big time. Left front tire flat. He's like, oh, man, I'm going to hit the fence.
And when you're wide open to center this turn 1 and 2, you don't have any steering, you're going to hit something. And we could see this tire getting ready to get in trouble with all the smoke pouring off it. It went down awful quick, though.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about pit strategy. 37 laps to go. Is everybody coming? And do they all want 4 or do they want 2?
Marty, you know what? This is the part that I always screw up, but I'm going to tell you, if I was out there, I'd be coming down pit road, putting 4 on. We got 39 laps to go, 37 now, I mean. And I believe I want those fresh tires to see what happens here.
You know, these guys, the pace has slowed down, you know, half a second from where they are with fresh tires. So if the leader comes, I think they're all coming. Maybe not, maybe 10. Somebody might take a gamble here.
And 2 tires. They might do 2 tires also. Go for the track position. That's right.
We have 17 cars currently on the lead lap. McDowell will get the lucky dog, and so that'll bring 18 around. But the big question will be, who is going to come to pit lane? And got a bit of a problem because Austin Dillon has basically stopped right in the middle of pit lane, about halfway down. There he is.
It looks like NASCAR has just kept the pit road closed right now because, just like you say, Austin's, they're going to have to pick the jack up and drag this car off because the front end's locked up on it. They can't even steer the car.
And the NASCAR official said, nope, we'll get the tow truck to do the job because both front tires are flat.
Boy, Austin looked so good in practice. I mean, the car was fast in practice, really had his act together. It's got that new sponsor, High Point University, on there. I guarantee Richard Childress is probably sitting at Poconos, pulling his hair out, going, oh, man, I can't believe this.
I think he's paying the grandchild's tuition right now, though.
Let's get an update on what some of the lead pit or strategies for the lead cars is going to be when they come to pit lane. Rick?
I wish I really knew the answer to that. The problem is I'm not sure they know the answer. They keep going back and forth. They want to do what everybody's going to do. But the problem is they're the leader. As far as Brad Keselowski, he's the guy who's got to decide. At this point, they have not made the decision to bring him in.
You know what? I wonder if they have their spotter up on the roof. Kyle Busch is way up on the end. They can do their pit stop according to what Kyle Busch does.
Randy, I will tell you, I've been watching the lap times, and about after 10 laps, those new tires, they don't run too fast. They settle right in. These cars are running 24.20 second laps, 24.20, 24.30s. And on a restart, you'll see them run maybe 23.80s for about 5 laps. Then they slow right back down. So, hey, they might be thinking, let's cool these tires off, let's stay out. But if I was them, I'd be coming out pit road.
What's the strategy for Eric Darnell in 3rd place, Jack?
Rusty and Randy, when you were running, if somebody offered you 4 new tires, it was Dr. Feelgood time, right?
Absolutely, buddy.
Well, that's exactly what they've offered to Eric Darnell. He's going to come down, take on 4 brand new Goodyear tires, and he said, look, I don't want to get held up having to spend any time in terms of fuel, so they're just going to add a can of Sunoco and gas and go.
Well, I'll tell you, one car is probably going to have to hit pit road is that number 12 car, Justin Allgaier, because it's got some big-time body damage on the right front corner especially. They're going to have to get that fender fixed. And Randy, it looks like it's very close to rubbing the right front tire also.
Right rear's right on it too, so I think they're going to be having an extended pit stop.
All right, you mentioned that the 88 of Brad Keselowski has the advantage. Let's show you why. See the Pizza Ranch pit crew? They are like the second pit stall in. So they will know, as you pointed out, while they're driving all the way down here to the corner, what the other team has done.
The spotter on the roof is going to be paying a lot of attention to the old pizza delivery cars. Okay, they do too. You know, that's what the 88 is going to do.
That's a great point. They got plenty of time to do that. If the spotter's helping them, that'll work.
Pit road is now open. And we will find out as Austin Dillon's car has been pulled behind the wall by the tow truck. And is the 88 coming, or is he going to force everybody else to potentially stay out? And it looks like he's coming. No, he at the commitment cone, he stays out. Mike, let's send it your way.
And a little bit of gamesmanship over the radio. Jason Ratcliffe said, we're going to take 4. Then he took the headset off, told his team, we're only taking 2. Did not want the 88 team to know what they're doing. Right side's only on the 18.
And they are already down and back out. Jack?
Eric Darnell, the crew has finished the work on the right sides, and they elect to go just for right sides. Let's go to Rick DeBrule.
Let's talk about Kelly Byard. We have not spoken about him very much during this whole race. He's kind of quietly been working his way up through that top pack. They came in, gave him just what he needed, get him back out, and once again, a very quiet race for this guy after they made all the adjustments, and he's quietly in the top 6. He was.
Well, this is going to be interesting. I'm wondering if Brad Keselowski and his team is going to be regretting the fact that everybody else came except him.
Well, 88 stayed out, and Brad Keselowski, Stephen Wallace stayed out. And it's going to be interesting to see how good these tires do after they cool them down a little bit. See if they speed up, like I've been seeing, and fall off, or else just 4 tires going to overhaul everybody.
Well, there's Pops, Tony Eury Sr., the man who made the call, kept his driver out.
I think his goatee was a little darker before that. He just got a lot of gray hair after that decision.
Well, they could be a sitting duck, or it could be a stroke of genius. And what's at stake? Well, $60,000 plus contingency. That's the normal purse. But there's also the $75,000 cash for dash, and the points that you score with that. That leads to another $50,000 bonus at the end of the year. Take a look at how close he came to the clipping commitment cone. And everybody else, pretty much in the top 8, came from behind and into pit lane.
Well, the 18 car took 2 tires on, didn't take 4. That's a good call, though, to keep the 2 tires on. Get that thing, keep the track position, because these tires, like we talked about, have been staying pretty good throughout the day. It's just it just shows you how hard the tire is. Generally, a hard tire doesn't fall off a whole lot.
Let's get the latest on the 88 from Rick.
You're right. Tires is what this is all about, and they just didn't feel that coming in and getting tires, whether it's 4 or in particular 2, was going to make that much of a difference. What we've heard is that they stay better for about 5 to 10 laps, and then they're even. Can he hold them off for 5 to 10 laps?
Well, the first 3 stayed out. Brad Keselowski, Stephen Wallace, Michael Annett, and Kyle Busch is in 4th. So you're going to find out what the feel goods are going to do here early.
Kyle Busch will be leading this thing in 2 laps.
And that's the key right there, guys. For the first 5 laps, they got to get it done on those fresh tires, because they do level out after that.
Down the backstretch, Michael Annett in the 15 was really holding up the whole line. There comes Kyle. He's got the gun sights set on the 88.
And here comes Eric Darnell with 6. We saw him earlier on new tires just rocket through the field for about 5 laps and settle in.
Darnell is 4th, trying the high side on Stephen Wallace in the 66. So far, Keselowski is still holding off Kyle Busch. And Darnell has cleared the 66, so move Eric up to 3rd.
Now see, guys, I just don't see everybody. It's attacking everybody. It's spread out a little bit, and we're just not seeing the sign that 4 tires do what they normally do. So this is probably not a bad move for some of these guys.
Does this pay the dividends that the 88 team was hoping? Keselowski has his mirrors full of that Camry with Kyle Busch at the wheel with 29-28 to go this time by.
Remember a couple weeks ago when Joey Logano stayed on the racetrack, did not put 4 tires on, and drove off and won that race, and nobody thought that was going to happen.
Haven't talked a great deal about Carl Edwards the last couple of stints, but here he is in the 7th position and trying to go around a wounded Justin Allgaier.
Carl has been the slowest guy to the front that started in the back. I would have thought he was going to rock it to the front like he did last week.
Well, he is cleared and now move Edwards up to 6. Next target for him is Leffler. Let's get more from Mike Massaro.
And a lot of debate in that camp before that last round of pit stops, Marty. They were deciding whether or not to go with 4 tires or 2. Wanted to go with 2, but Carl was concerned they were just way too loose to do that. Elected to go with 4. We're going to wait and see if it pays off.
The battle for the race lead is still nose to tail. Keselowski is managing to hold off the 2 fresh tires that Kyle Busch has on that number 18.
You know, Kyle Busch is complaining he's going to the outside of him. He has a run on him.
He loves that outside, down the backstretch, down into 3, and he may be able to clear him by 4. Yes, he's got him. New race leader. It'll be our 8th lead change here between 5 different guys, and here comes Keselowski right back.
And one thing you got to remember now, Kyle Busch only has 2 tires. He doesn't have 4, so it's not like he's got 4 Mr. Feelgoods. It really makes the car run quick for a while. And it looks like this kind of neutralized it, him only having 2.
This is a great race. You see the fans on their feet, shaking everything they got, chasing it up the racetrack.
Well, the 88. Yeah, the 88 got loose and almost clobbered 18.
And that gives Kyle a little bit of breathing room, about 0.2 of a second. That's what it looks like from the view from Brad Keselowski.
And the 88's been a little quicker on the older tires, so we'll see if they can maintain this distance.
Take a look at the battle for 4th. That's Jason Leffler trying to get under the 66. Remember, the 66 of Stephen Wallace stayed out, so he's on the older tires.
And Trip Bruce made a good call on that, man. I would have pitted and put some tires, but him and Leffler have been running side by side, back and forth, Randy, and Leffler can't get him on those tires.
Well, and Steven was further back. I mean, he picked up track position. If he can hold off, he could have a 2nd top 5 in a row. He was 5th last week at ORP. Let's get more from Rick DeBrule.
Well, we'll talk about that. Stephen Wallace was saying he was complaining the car was lacking kind of overall grip. As a result, he said the front and rear were both sliding. Remember, earlier in the race, he had that problem where the tire went down. They did not make as many adjustments that time as they'd originally planned, which has helped them. But they stayed out specifically to keep that track position. Now the question is, can he hold on?
Well, look at this. They're trying to make it 3 wide with Carl Edwards down low. They'll think a little bit better of it and fall back. But now Leffler's got a problem because Edwards looks like he's going to take the position away from him.
And that's one thing when 2 guys get the race and the guy sitting 3rd one back. Okay, guys, I'm going to pass both of you.
So move Carl up to 5th position. So he's in the top 5. Your race leader here at the Nationwide Series at Iowa, presented by GoDaddy.com, is Kyle Busch. Does he set another record? Whoa, and before we go to break, we've got caution as Morgan Shepherd, who was running in the 17th position on the lead lap, has gotten it turned around. And that is our 11th caution.
Looks like he had a flat right rear tire.
There's one thing we know for sure, they're staying out now. 20 laps to go. They stayed out last time, they'll stay out this time.
So it is a flat right rear for the 89, and we'll see if he's able to stay on that lead lap as we'll head to break with 20 laps to go here at Iowa. Back here at Iowa Speedway, let's talk to our in-race reporter, Rusty.
Brad K, Rusty Wallace, ESPN, you got us? 4. Hey, buddy, it looks like it's staying out. Those 4 tires didn't hurt you a whole lot. Where's your car better at, up in the middle or on the bottom of the track?
In front. Anything I can do to get in front of this 18, I'm going to take off once I do. So that's what I'm focused on. We'll do whatever it takes to make sure that happens with this GoDaddy.com Chevrolet. So watch out. It's going to be exciting.
All right, buddy. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Tell you what, tip of the hat to Brad and the team, because realize what's at stake here, folks. $75,000 bonus if they win the race. $60,000 plus your contingency money, plus the $50,000 bonus at the end of the year. And there's Eric Darnell's crew chief, Mike Kelly, and they'd like a piece of that money too. And for them to take the time to give us that little update, appreciate it.
That was pretty good. You can tell the urgency in Brad Keselowski's voice. You know, Pop's Erie up there, he didn't even want to do that. He doesn't want his driver to talk at all, but you know, he did a good job filling us in what's going on.
All right, there's Kenny Wallace. We gave him some love a little bit earlier. Take a look at the guy alongside. That's Benny Gordon. He has worked his way from 25th up to the 11th position. So a tip of the hat to the 72 crew. This is only his 4th career start. And Benny, I'm afraid we may not see much of you here down the stretch because I have a feeling the battle for the race lead between Busch and Keselowski is going to be huge. Take a look at this crowd. Capacity, 60,000, and not a single one of them is in their seats. There'll be 16 laps to go this time by. Busch on the high side, and here we go. We're green to the stretch.
Boy, you talk about a shootout. Look at us, a 3 wide down into turn 1.
Carl Edwards trying to take the low line and gets around a couple of cars. He was 5th on the restart, moving to 3rd. Oh, look out! Allgaier, cars pinched, including Stephen Wallace and Eric Darnell. Can they sort it out? No. We're going to go yellow.
Man, you can see it happen. They come 3 wide off of turn 2, and they're locked down together. Unbelievable. Off of turn 2, 3 wide, and they all get hooked like this.
3 cars in the top 5.
You see the right front of the 12 cars wedged into the 66 car. It can't get away from each other.
So we have our 12th caution on the track now. A lot of damage to Darnell. Take a look at the front right. Oh, man, he's got both of them.
Oh, there they go. Now they cleared each other. They're gesturing back and forth to, you pull forward, I'll pull back. Let's break loose.
They weren't saying that. It was like, why'd you hit me?
Let's go back and try and sort this one out.
It looks like they're raced into a funnel, and they all just kind of come into there, all come together.
Justin Allgaier gets loose and gets up, and Eric Darnell and Stephen. Too bad. 15 laps to go. They're all having great runs.
Here's another view.
They just run out of real estate, you know.
Yeah.
Stevens on the outside, the 12 kind of come up, and then the 6 just all boom.
3 cars trying to fit in the space of 2. Here we go on board.
4 wide.
Well, you can actually tell that the 6 car kind of wedged himself in between these 2 guys.
And the 12 hasn't lifted yet. He lifted all the way down to turn 1.
I'll tell you what, they're trying to stay off the wall, Randy.
Yeah, well, sometimes, you know, like you said, video games is not a video game.
No.
Well, there is Stephen. He's made it back to pit lane, and here comes Justin Allgaier. And this equals the most cautions this season. We had 12 at Las Vegas. We've had 12 today here at Iowa.
What do you think? I think the 88 is going to have a different pit restart this time.
Let's check in on the crew chiefs. Rick?
Standing by with Tony Uri Sr. You guys made the gamble to stay out. It looks like that pays off. The question is, do you have anything left for Kyle Busch?
Well, all his cautions are just helping Kyle out because his car runs good on cold tires, and I mean that's why he pitted. Our car runs the same speed; it don't matter what tires are on it. So after a caution, when it cools down, we can sit there and run 80s, you know, and that's as fast as our car runs all day. So we just made the decision to stay out and not take a gamble on losing track position, having to fight our way back through there again.
It's just a question now is whether there's enough laps left, Mike.
And catching up with the leaders crew chief right now, Jason Ratcliffe, what do you guys need to do to hold the 88 off?
We need to get a good restart. You know, the outside line seems to be like the preferred line. So if we can get a good start and get him clear down the backstretch, it's a tough place to pass when you got cars that are really equal. We've seen that all day today. Great racetrack. I mean, there's 2 grooves. You can run side by side for laps. So we'll see. Hopefully we can get a little lead here and get out front and hold them off.
And to give you guys a sense of emotion, there's quite a bit of tension here in the 18 kit.
Well, think about this. Here's Kyle Busch, started in the back of the field in the lead. Look at the car in 3rd place, started in the back of the field. Carl Edwards, who won last week from 42nd all the way to the point. And question is, do you think Carl has anything for these 2?
Well, I think the only reason Carl will have anything for him if the 2 in front of him take each other out. If they get bobbled up and they get into each other, boy, you better look out. With the 3 lanes here, Carl's on the bottom. He's worked the bottom all day. If those 2 guys get together, they go up the racetrack, Carl's going to the bottom, baby. You better look out.
They widen this track out right now. They got rubber built up the bottom to the top. It's a clear track. It's like you said, guys, they can run 3 lanes out there, and it won't surprise me if all these guys go everywhere. You saw 3 wide a little while ago. It didn't work, but it was about to, wasn't it?
All right, before we go back to green flag racing, let's give some more tip of the hats. Remember Scott Lagasse? He is out of that right in the right side of your screen. There he is in the 11 car. He is up to 6th position. He leaves this ride. He wanted to get a good spot, and he has done extremely well today with that number 11 machine.
Same thing with Kelly Byers. Kelly Byers is a short track ace. Run a couple seasons for the Nationwide team for JTG. He's back here with Braun Racing. Man, great job for Kelly Byers.
He's running in 5th, and Kenny Wallace is up to 7th. So 3 guys that needed some good runs and have gotten them today. As we should be getting the 1 to go, and yes, we will. Lights will go out on the pace car. Let's drop back a little bit further in the field. Des Moines' own Michael Annette has worked his way to 10th, which basically puts him in row number 5 on this double file restart. And boy, he has about, what, 250 family and friends we heard that are here.
Marty, I think he's got more than that. Last night I saw the whole entire family, and they were so pumped up about Michael being at this track. And, you know, he's got a good run going on right now. You know, we were watching him on Thursday on that practice session. The car looked real solid. I mean, and look at this thing. He doesn't have any scratches on it. Hasn't tore it up. He's doing a great job.
Yeah. We still got 10 laps to go. I mean,
yeah. You did have to mention that, didn't you?
Well.
And Benny Gordon right there in the 72. Let's point out that he is running in 9th position. So some new faces out of new track getting some great results as we're about ready to decide this one. Hopefully we go all the way green on the final 10 laps. That's what we'll have this time by. It'll be Kyle Busch on the high side, Brad Keselowski underneath him. Then it's Edwards and Leffler in the 2nd row, and we're back to the green flag here at Iowa.
The leader sets the pace, and Kyle says, I'm getting out of here.
Boy, and he is shot out of a cannon. Leffler on the high side, taking 3rd away from Carl, so that is a setback for Edwards. Coming out of 4, it is still Kyle Busch in front of Brad Keselowski. While all this is going on, we'll tell you Ricky Stenhouse Jr., our pole sitter, is slow through turn 4. Looks like he may be heading for pit lane and does. We'll stay on the battle here. 1st and 2nd are trying to check out. Carl's trying to get 3rd place back.
Well, they got 9 laps to go. They got to get it done right now. And you see the 88 car getting his nose underneath Kyle Busch. It's not over. It's a drag race.
Oh, at the stripe. Who has the lead this time by? Keselowski officially is given credit for the lead, and he clears him heading through 2. So all of a sudden, Keselowski Chevrolet comes to life.
Boy, that missing happy hour last night might not have been a bad thing for these guys.
I tell you, that's just what he needed to get this thing out in front. And now he can guard the top of the track, guard the bottom lane. He can drive with his mirror right now for the next 8 laps.
Boy, these fans are going crazy. I'm not sure if they're that much Brad Keselowski fans or they're anti-Kyle Busch fans.
No matter what happens, if it stays the same, Kyle Busch is going to tie another record. It'll be 9 races in a row where he will finish 1st or 2nd. Jack Ingram holds the mark. If nothing changes, he's guaranteed to tying that mark. I guarantee you, though, he wants to be 1st. And this time by, here we go, 6 laps to go. Let's get the latest on the 88. Rick.
Well, think about this. Tony Eury says that the Brad car was not as good on these tires. That means this is all Brad doing this right now. He's overcoming his tire problem and managing to pull off the lead.
And he is holding on to it through turns 3 and 4. This time by, it'll be 5 laps to go, and not a single person in these grandstands is seated. Right up, tucked underneath him is Kyle Busch. Down into 1. They're still nose to tail.
Rusty, one of the things that you're taught at an early age, never look in the mirror when you're in the lead.
And look at this. He's going to the bottom right now. He chose the bottom lane, the 18 car, Kyle Busch.
Down into 3. Can he make it stick, or does he have to feather to hold onto the race line? High side seems to have it, and it is Keselowski. This time by, 4 laps to go.
Brad has kind of moved up into Kyle's lane. Kyle can't run the bottom as good as Brad can. Brad seen him coming. He's not taking your lane away.
He is trying. That 18 car's really got some momentum off of turn 2 and down the back straightaway, trying to run him down as he get into 3.
Keselowski with about 2 car lengths on the 18 of Kyle Busch. They come out of 4. This time by, 3 laps remaining. Down into 3, or down into 1 again, and take a look. The middle lane is where Kyle has to run right now, and Brad has been able to get to the bottom of the racetrack.
Brad's tires have been wonderful. His car is really hooked up. The older tires, the hotter tires, the quicker the 88 is.
Let's listen to the crowd as they come by with now 2 laps remaining. Down into one again, that low line, and boy, he is just able to hug the bottom.
Right now, Marty's got the opportunity to look in his mirror, block him off if he's got to. He can see where Kyle's going to go, and he'll move that baby right up in front of him and block that line. But right now, from what I've seen, he just got a faster car, about a 1/10 of a second faster than Kyle Busch right now.
White flag is out. Listen to the crowd. 7/8 of a mile to traverse for the 88 of Brad Keselowski. And who says you need practice?
We're talking about practice, boys.
Down the back straightaway the last time into turn number 3 with plenty of air to spare. The 88 of Brad Keselowski with his second win and an inaugural win at Iowa.
What a big win that was.
Kyle Busch second, Jason Leffler third, Carl Edwards fourth, Kelly Byers fifth, Jason Keller up to 6th at the end, Kenny Wallace 7th, McDowell 8th, Lagacy 9th, and Stephen Light rounds out your top 10.
For 2 days, we've been hearing that tires didn't matter. Tires didn't matter. He was 105 laps on his tires.
Let's hear from Pops. What a great decision to keep him out. Like I said, you either look like the GOAT or you're a genius. Pops is the genius, Rick.
Pops just got Gatorade dumped on him up here on the stand. All right, well, with the last yellow, you were saying you were worried. You didn't think he had the tires to do it? How'd he do it?
Well, I mean, like I said before, our car run the same speed. It didn't matter where they had new tires or the old tires. And I think the air pressure on new tires hurt us worse than the old tires did. So, you know, we had plenty of time to talk about it. We had about 3 laps there, and you know, it was good to bring that GoDaddy Chevrolet here to Iowa and win in the backyard of GoDaddy. So
you look pretty emotional when that guy went across the line.
Well, all wins are emotional.
He's backed up against the wall and just burning the cords to the tires in the rear, and boy, what a celebration right now in front of this packed house.
He might be running out of gas in that thing, but he don't care. He's going to burn it down. He don't care if the motor's sealed. We're not using this thing again, baby.
Man, whenever you win an inaugural race anywhere, it's big, and this is a real big one. Not one person has left this house. Not one person is trying to get on the highway.
$135,000 at least, the payday. That's $75,000 nationwide, cash for dash. And there it is right there, the victory celebration beginning. And we'll talk to our winner in Victory Lane here at Iowa. It's Brad Keselowski's day. Happy birthday to his dad. He's 58 today. What a present. He will go on the first ever trophy to be presented here. His 4th Nationwide Series win in his 90th race and 2nd win of the year. And look at Pops poking his head into the cockpit as he's just resting just a moment. And it's time to head to Victory Lane as the celebration is really going to get rowdy.
Well, Brad Keselowski doing a little crowd surfing with his team right here, knowing he just won an extra $75,000. We got to talk about that last restart. It's even got his name on it already. The fact that there was some question about whether you had the tires to pull that off at the end. How did you do it?
And we just wheeled her, man. Had an awesome car. This GoDaddy.com Chevrolet was fast. And, you know, Kyle was a little better on short runs, and he put them 2 tires on, and he had a little for me. And we're in trouble, but just kept digging hard and forced a mistake on Kyle's part and was able to drive by him, and just goes to show the strength of this team. This is the coolest place I could win. $75,000 from Nationwide, and appreciate that. And then my sponsors race with GoDaddy.com. Just what a great race to win. Really shows the strength of this team and where we're heading, and can't wait for more good things to come, that's for sure. I appreciate all these fans that came out here, man. This place deserves a cup race. They really do. I mean, when you get support like we got today from the fans, that just shows how strong this community is.
All right, now let's talk about the decision to stay out that last time. I mean, it was a very last-second decision. Did you have doubts about it?
Oh, yeah. Of course we have doubts about it. If I finished second, I'd be kicking myself right now. But it worked out, so you know, I'm feeling pretty good about it.
All right, the big question is, you didn't even go to the last practice. You were dialed in. How did you get it dialed in so well?
Well, you know, Rusty gave me a hard time about that. I kind of was a little upset with you, Rusty, but you know, I guess it showed we were right. And you know, I got to tell you what we did, but it worked. So
Nothing better than getting the last lap on Rusty Wallace.
He's up here going, yep, I was wrong. That's okay, Rusty. But you know what? Most of the times it doesn't pay off that way. They were just really on their mark.
He did a great job. He's awesome. I mean, to stay, it just shows the strength of the team. They're not even practiced to be that strong. But man, what a race. I couldn't believe what I saw. I'm just so happy for this community, for Iowa, to see a race like this saw today.
One of the things we talked to Pops early in the race, before the show started, all day Thursday, they practiced for this race. We talked to a lot of guys, and a lot of guys practice Thursday for all kinds of racetracks. Pop says, I'm practicing here. I don't have to go happy hour. Let's go win a race.
Well, Mike Massaro has caught up with Kyle Busch. Let's check in with him.
And it was a hard-fought effort by Kyle Busch. Came up just a little bit short, but how would you describe that battle with the 88?
Good battle, but Pizza Ranch Toyota wasn't good enough today, I guess, or I wasn't good enough, probably me, but we fought tight off all day, and then there at the end we're loose off. So I don't know what to do to win these races, but very, very disappointing, very, very frustrating, and I guess I just come here to finish second at these deals.
I know this is little consolation to you, but you did tie a record today. 9 consecutive top 2 finishes. What's it mean to tie Jack Ingram's mark?
Just imagine if all those seconds were wins.
That would be very impressive. Guys, you can tell that Kyle Busch is pretty disappointed.
Well, Mike, we've caught up with Jason Leffler, who started this race and was really, there's no other way to say it, Jason, out to lunch. He told Scott Zipadelli at one time, look, we got to make some radical changes, get me back in the game, and he did.
Yeah, he's really good about that. It took us 2 or 3 stops to do it, and man, he just did a great job. I went from having a car that ran for 5 laps and then got so tight I couldn't drive it, and then I had a really good long run car and got up front, which helped quite a bit. And man, what a great place. I got to thank everybody at Great Clips for coming out today, and they support us, and all these fans. I mean, it's an awesome atmosphere, great facility. Rusty Wallace and the Clemens and everybody involved in this deal did a great job, and I've had a lot of fun here at Iowa Speedway and can't wait to come back.
Hey, Mike, there was a heck of a battle between Jason Leffler and the guy you're with.
Yeah, that would be Carl Edwards, and another top 5 to your credit. But how would you assess the day overall?
Overall is a solid B, kind of a little bit above mediocre, but the great part is that we had all these fans in the grandstands, and it was a great race for everyone. Our City Financial Ford Fusion was not good, but Dan and the guys did a great job with the strategy. And then that last restart, I thought it's ours to win. I thought we were going to get them, but Brad and Kyle took off, and Leffler even took off from us. So we just got to go back and do our homework. But congrats to Brad, man. That was a heck of a show. Once I got a couple, views of it back there, and those guys put on a great show. And I thought it was a great first event here at Iowa.
And Marty, you heard Carl Edwards give credit to Dan Stillman. They tuned on that race car all afternoon.
Yeah, they sure did, and he worked his way up into that top 4 position, and there is the trophy. As for Kyle Busch, you heard him talk about those 7 second-place finishes. He has 6 wins. That's 13 top 2s, and he's disappointed. There is your race winner.
NASCAR Nationwide Series at Iowa Speedway is presented by
Taking a look at the celebration that still continues here at the inaugural running of the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Iowa Speedway, and there's the $75,000 dash for cash as the check being presented to our winner, Brad Keselowski, in front of a beautiful trophy as he is celebrating a very big win, his 2nd of the year, to go along with his prior win at Dover earlier this season. And this payday, if all our calculations are right, will make it the biggest single payday in Nationwide Series history, with that $75,000 bonus to go along with the $60,000 purse, plus all the contingency monies, which will be added in by the end of the week. And time for us now to check in out west. Hey, Paul Page, you're out there in L.A. with X Games coming up in just a matter of moments.
Yeah, Marty, and it sounds, you're talking about a big payday. It sounds like you earned your pay today, buddy.
Well, we had a great time. Tell us what's coming up, because I know you've got Super X coming up.
And it's going to be good, let me assure you. I'll give you a couple of the things to look at. We're at the Home Depot Center down in Carson City, south of the center of Los Angeles. And James Stewart was supposed to race, but then he was practicing for the Supermoto, and he got up against the wall with his shoulder, bruised his bones, and he said that's enough. So he didn't run in the Supermoto earlier, and not in the
Super X later. How about, though, the other contenders that are here? Guys like Josh Hansen, who won last year, or Jeremy McGrath. There's Hansen for you, and all said and done, we expect a really terrific day out here. I mean, it's the sun's shining. They're already warming up for the Super X. Marty, you ought to be here, buddy.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to be tuning in because we're going to sit back and take a little bit of breather because we've had a lot of excitement here with our NASCAR Nationwide Series inaugural event. And good luck to you guys out there. And I'll keep rooting for Jeremy McGrath. I got to be honest about that. Take a look at the crowd trying to find their way back to their cars. Jack, I think you've caught up with another young man who really turned in a great performance today, Kelly Byers.
Boy, that's an understatement, Kelly. Congratulations, fine performance. What was the big key to the way your car performed today?
Well, it was a great run for the Fraternal Order of Eagles Toyota Camry. The guys at Braun Racing, Todd Braun, everyone that gave me this opportunity, I got to thank them first and foremost. But you know, we were a little bit tight to start the race, made great adjustments all day long, just stayed on top of it, and got the car so we could run probably in the top 3 there. In the last run, we just over-adjusted a little bit, got a little bit too loose on entry. But all in all, great top 5 finish for the Braun Racing team, and just feels good to be back in the car again.
Kind of a nice Iowa connection, too, with the FOE sponsorship, because you were able to raise some funds for a very worthy cause out here. Yeah, absolutely. The Diabetes Center at the University of Iowa, it's a great partnership between the FOE and the University of Iowa, and also Todd Braun, the owner of Braun Racing, donated $50,000 to help that cause too. So it's a great deal to be this close to it in Iowa. It's a great opportunity for us to work with them, and man, it was awesome with all these fans out here today. It feels good to be back in the Midwest. Mike Massaro, it was indeed something special here.
Special for the 27 team as well. They've been trying to turn up their performance for a few weeks now. They hit on something today, that's for sure. 6th place finish for Jason Keller. Your best finish in over a year. How much of a boost is this for you and this team?
Well, that's great. You know, we've had some good solid top 10 finishes, but we beat in there around that top 10 all day long, and just took advantage of the circumstance there at the end. But just want to thank Cottonelle and Hy-Vee for coming on board, and State Water Heaters, U.S. Postal Service, and all of our partners. I mean, without them, we couldn't do all this. So it's a great day, and what a crowd. You know, this was a wonderful race. Hopefully the fans, if they didn't like anything else, hopefully they liked the restarts, because it was crazy, and just real proud to get up there and race hard with them, and proud of my guys. Todd really made some good changes on Thursday, the open test day. So hi to Deb and Joe and Jade back home, coming home with a good top 10. Excited.
You know, this performance seemed to be a long time coming. You and I had some conversations a few weeks ago, and talking about how desperately you wanted to get back up there and run with the leaders on a weekly basis. What's this been like for you? Not being able to do that, but now you finally can.
Well, it's frustrating, and every time I get down, Todd won't let me, and every time Todd gets down, he kind of pushes me. So it's a great combination, and this is what we need. The road course next week will be a little trying for us, because hadn't been on a road course in over a year. But I love going to Watkins Glen. It's great. But we'll take it one step at a time. We learned a lot on Thursday. I can't say enough about what we learned, and hopefully we can build off of that and take some of that to Michigan and these places. But we need more racetracks like this. These really, really racy, less than a mile racetracks, and it was a great day for the Cottonelle Ford. Thanks.
And Jason Keller brings it home 6th. Marty?
You heard Jason talk about the Watkins Glen road course. Well, that is the next stop for the Nationwide Tour, and it's next Saturday at 2:30 Eastern. Then on to Michigan, the high banks there, and then, oh, my favorite, Bristol Motor Speedway. And then we'll have another road course at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, August 30th, 2 Eastern. And remember that those 2 road course races, we confirmed with Joe Balish, Goodyear has made a brand new rain tire, so if it rains, we will still race in the Nationwide Series. You've got to be just thrilled. I mean, those drivers unsolicited are sitting there singing praises of this racetrack.
Well, I appreciate it. We worked hard on the track, and the design was something I dreamed of for a long time. I had a lot of help doing it, but one thing I really wanted to do was make it a 3 different banking angle racetrack so these guys could run side by side. But you didn't know if it was going to work until today, and it worked really good. So I'm really proud of the team, everybody here at the Speedway, the whole state of Iowa, everybody who attended this race. It was a great day, and Mike Helton and NASCAR been so good to us here to bring this race, and I think they're really happy right now.
Randy, what about your impressions?
Well, you know what? Not only are the fans happy and the state is happy, the drivers were happy. They loved this place. You guys, you heard Jason Keller. We need more of these things so we can race on it. We can't ride behind these guys. We have room. We could race them. Everybody was happy. Oh, yeah, except Kyle Busch.
Yeah, I still can't get over that. I mean, here he is. He's got 13 top 2 finishes, 6 wins, 7 seconds. And there's guys that would kill for a year like that.
Well, you heard the interview that Marty Smith did at Indianapolis with him, and we saw it again at Pocono this morning. The guy just wants to win real bad, and he did a pretty good job. He just didn't show any emotion. He wanted to scream, it seemed like, but he kept himself in check. But, you know, he's a racer. He holds his stuff on his shoulder, and to him, second place is the first loser.
What about your thoughts on that subject? I mean, you've won 2 championships. You know what it's like to win and to lose.
Exactly right. There's only one guy who's going to win. You know, only one guy can be happy. But really, you can have a little bit of happiness. I mean, you did run second. You did lead laps. You might win the championship because he's pulled away again today. So, boy, you know, just have some fun doing this.
All right, let's look ahead, guys, to next week as the celebration goes on. Who has the advantage going on to the road course up at Watkins Glen?
I'm going to pick Kyle Busch. I mean, as hungry as he is, you got to pick him.
He's definitely a fast road racer, there's no doubt about that. Carl Edwards is going to run good out there road courses, but don't be surprised if you see a ringer pop up there and have a good run also, like a Patrick Carpentier or somebody like that.
That's for sure. Okay, guys, don't forget to tune in tomorrow for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. That'll be at Pocono, presented by Old Spice. Airtime is 1 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. Coming up next, it's X Games 15. You heard Paul Page just a moment ago talk about Super X Moto coming up, and it should be very exciting, and we hope you'll stay tuned for that. As the hat dance continues down in Victory Lane, we'll send our congratulations once again to Brad Keselowski as he picks up not only the $60,000 winner purse, but the $75,000 in bonus money. What a great day it has been here at the Iowa Speedway. 60,000 fans turned out for the inaugural running of this event on this 7/8 mile short track that runs almost like a super speedway. We saw a little bit of everything. We saw lots of passing, lots of fender banging, and some emotion from everybody. For our entire ESPN crew, I'm Marty Reed. This has been a presentation of ESPN. Till we meet again.